Okay, we're live.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, to our regular BOCC meeting on behalf of the Montezuma County Commissioners. The first item of action is the minutes from the previous week. Commissioners, have you had the opportunity to look at the meetings, and would you like to make a recommendation?
I have seen them, and I would move that we accept the proceedings of the Board of Commissioners, Montezuma County, May 12, 2020, which was a hybrid meeting also.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the May 12th, 2020 minutes for the Montezuma County Board of Commissioners. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, we have our emergency management update with Jim Spratlin.
1 second, Commissioner. There's 2 sets of meetings from that.
Oh, sorry, Jim, just to hang out. You're good.
And also, I move to accept the proceedings of the Board of Commissioners, Montezuma County, May 14th, which was a virtual meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the Montezuma County Board of Minutes for May 14th, 2020. That was a virtual meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, now you have the floor, Jim. Sorry.
Thank you, sir. Hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I think you have a copy of the situational assessment report for the week. It's a little more detailed than what I'm going to go over. If you have any questions, please let me know. Our 7-day review is pretty similar to the last 7 days. We were working really hard at trying to locate and getting some supplies. And I just got a call from the state yesterday that all 5 orders that I have put in over two months, they're filling and they're sending. So I'm very pleased that we're getting a lot of PPE. So that should be here sometime this week, I hope. So that was good news. We're still monitoring the new plan out in the county. We're still building a system to identify our special needs population. We've got a form that's going around right now. We did add to our emergency operations center support system. We got a few extra people. Long-term planning's out there. We're making sure that all the departments and all the emergency support functions are aware of where we're headed for the next couple of months. A lot of donations and distribution of products. We are compiling data and putting it in usable forms. We're trying to get the data systems organized. Finance and myself have been working on getting all the forms ready for reimbursement. So hopefully that will come about in at least in the next month, trying to work through the website. Contact tracing is still ongoing when we have an active case. Let's see. We've got plans for development of what we call a COVID recovery center in case we need to utilize it, not just for any specific population, but anybody. Anybody that needs help, we got a place to put them. So we're working on that this week, as a matter of fact. And then we did develop a new incident support plan for the next 7 days. I think you got a copy of that.
Jim, before
Yes,
you
sir.
you've got your bullet points there. I don't think, comment to me on the continue to assist the businesses in recovery. Did you skip that bullet point?
I might have skipped it.
Yeah, tell me what you're doing
there. We are continuing to assist the business in recovery. I know that Don has been working and getting the emails out. We've sent out the loans to the business district. I was in contact yesterday with call it district. It's Region 9, along with Susan from Chamber, trying to come up with some ideas where we're at. Right now, we all know that we're on a thread. We all know that our businesses are they're hurting, and we need to do something. Trying to find that specific information is difficult right now because, a lot of them had laid off workers, and now some of the workers are coming back. So we have a baseline that I sent just last night. Donna sent it out to me last night. But it's our Region 9 baseline economic snapshot of 2020. So we've got a good baseline of where we were before COVID. And then we have, where's my other piece of paper? Impacted jobs and impacted, we've got food jobs, we've got arts and entertainment and recreation, a certain percentage that are impacted in our area. And they don't have specific stats yet. We're waiting for another month. And in the next month, we should be able to put together some categories under food, under utilities, under retail, under recreation, under real estate, all those categories, and hopefully we'll come up with something that has been going on. Right now, we're not quite, we don't have enough stats. I've talked to some business owners, and some said that, they're hurting. Some have said they're done. And I don't know about some. I know one. So we're seeing some of that impact right now. But we really don't have that total number yet. So I'm working with the chamber. I think Shaq is and Don is, and we're all trying to gather some information. So hopefully in the next month we'll have a little more information for you.
Well, I guess, Jim, what's starting to disturb me is I saw on the national news the other day that nationally, restaurants, if they go 6 months without being able to open fully to their normal capacity, only 15% nationwide of those restaurants will survive this. So what I need us to be doing is continuing to put pressure upstream to CDPHE and to our health department here as to how are we going to find a viable way to help these businesses get some kind of opening, because we're looking at 3 months in now. 6 months is not that far away.
Right.
And if that statistic is true, that only 15% nationally of restaurants will survive if they're closed up for 6 months, tell you what, it's going to be a whole nother kettle of fish in this country.
Right. Something has to happen.
And that affects all your meat packer. That affects your food supply. I mean, those are what use a lot of the resources, the meats and the foods and the produce that these markets have, I tell you, it's got such a domino effect on it that if we got to start finding a way to get some of this stuff going.
Right.
I tell you,
Right.
We just keep kicking the can down the road. CDPHE is the most disappointing agency I've seen in the state of Colorado yet. And I don't know.
Well, here's a real statistic, and this is part of that MBT meeting that was held on Thursday, which Don and Shaq are all part of. But just locally, just one bank, Colton Black, reported that Dolores State Bank, just one bank in our community, not Region 9, not everything else that has been input, has already loaned out over $6 million. My concern is those are still loans, although very low interest and or no interest to a certain degree, some of them. But those are just added loans that those people are now going to have to bear the weight of to repay those. And if they still cannot open up, they're not, the financial ruin is where we're headed. So just one bank in this community, $6 million, and the people need to understand that. Those are real numbers. That's one bank in this community of $6 million that have been handed out, which is a lot of money in a very small community. So it is, as Commissioner Ortel said, we have to continue to work, which we are diligently, to try to get things opened up, because we are, the numbers of the cases that we have are not even 1/10 of 1% of our population right now.
They don't warrant this lockdown.
We are.
And if I can interject, I don't know if my mic is on, I think it is. I was speaking to the manager of 2 different hotels and a restaurant on the east side of our town last week. He came in to the wrong building to pay that company's property taxes, and I walked with him across the street and showed him where he needed to be, but he said another few weeks, 3 weeks I think he said, and we're probably going to fold. And I know we're worried about visitors coming from San Juan County, McKinley County, Apache County, Navajo County. But I want everybody to give a real serious consideration to what tourist season looks like in 2021 and 2022 when there's no hotels and RV parks for those tourists to stay in.
Or restaurants to eat at.
Right, right.
Sorry.
And, no, it's fine, and I believe me, I'm right behind you on this. I have a personal friend, I had to move furniture out of their office, you know, so it sucks, and it's not right, and we need to do something, and I saw you guys on the call yesterday, CDPH, yeah, and it was a good job. There's a lot of questions that aren't being answered, so I think we keep pushing it that realm. I'll push it at my end, and then I know there's some, is the governor going to be saying something maybe Monday? So let's see where we can head quickly. But
I believe this health order expires Monday or Tuesday?
On the 26th.
26.
Tuesdays.
Right.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
So here's a series of questions that I sent to Shaq and, well, and the other commissioners, but, and I don't know if this would go through your department or how we would do this, but here's a series of questions to ask our businesses. Are you closed or open for curbside or open for delivery? Can you continue doing business in this manner indefinitely? And if not, for how much longer? So this would be a survey of all the businesses in Montezuma County. How many employees did you have in the month of April 2019? How many employees do you have in the month of April 2020? Can you meet all of your obligations such as rent, utilities, bank loans, etc., based on the current way your business is operating? Do you have positive cash flow? If your revenues in April 2020 differ from your revenues in April 2019, by what percentage? If you do not have positive cash flow, at what point will your financial reserves be exhausted? And I think if we could get those answers from the businesses, and maybe you might have.
I've sent all of those already to the MBT. I sent it to Susan and the Tri-Chambers so that they could start that again with, like they did that survey for us prior, but that was a month ago. So hopefully they'll be working on that, and I can follow up with her again today. But when I got that, I did send it to her.
Okay.
Or I did say, yeah.
And she was talking yesterday, Region 9, Laura. She said that we needed a new survey. We needed to get some new data, so that's good. Yeah. So that'll help us. That'll help us kind of get our arms around this a little more and have more statistics we can use, I think. Good. Good discussion.
Anything else?
Just that everything is, all the other emergency support functions are at normal operations, even our transportation. I was talking to Jennifer, they're up 25, they're up to half of what they used to run for people, so that's really good. We've been delivering food with the Senior Service Center Monday. We continue to do that. Communications is up and running. Everything appears, all the emergency support functions are at normal so far. And then I've already mentioned the logistics side. We're doing really well on that end. We have the extra case that came up, so we're at 29 cases. Is that correct, I think? And so we have those statistics. I think what I've got here are pretty much the same. The others that are surrounding us are there. You know, we're still working on making sure we get the same message out to the public. We're still working on that really hard. So everything on my end seems like we're okay, other than the economic recovery. That's what we're going to start concentrating on, and also making sure that we're ready with the PPE in case this thing goes up in the fall or something else occurs. So we're trying to prepare ahead, and then my office, which is me, myself, and I, we're working very carefully and hard on making sure we got enough equipment ready to go for the fires, and making sure that we're all on the same page. So the sheriff and I have been spending time discussing that as well. So we can't forget about life. Life still goes on. So we're going to work on that. So
So the sit rep that you've given to us for the last 3 weeks basically shows normal operations for every function within all of these categories.
Yes, sir, other than our public health, which is swamp doing, the other things. But they're in I guess if you call it categories, we have, everybody's in a green, and they're in a yellow, kind of like what the state does, the same type of category. So they're working hard based on COVID, but all the other ESFs are at normal operations, correct? Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions, commissioners, for Jim?
No.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, gentlemen.
Jim, for the weekly
Thank you.
update. Next, we have the chairman of the Ute Tribe, Manuel Hart. Manuel, why don't you come sit in my chair and I'll sit down there for the camera. Would that work for you? Morning.
Can you hear me okay? Appreciate that. I'd like to address the Montezuma County Commissioners today, May 19th, 2020. Good morning to all of you, the Montezuma County Commissioners and staff. My name is Manuel Hart. My last name is spelled H-E-A-R-T for people that are emailing me. My email is manuel.hart@utemountain.org. I'm the tribal chairman of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. I thank you for honoring my request today to be on your agenda. We as the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe would like to address the Montezuma County Commissioners. Before I read my letter, I would like to request that I may read it all before you ask me some questions. Understand governments and how they work. We from the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe are within the Montezuma County. The Southern Ute Indian Tribe is within the La Plata County and the Archuleta County. There are only 2 federally recognized tribes in the state of Colorado. On March 5th, 2020, we had our first case in Colorado. On March 28th, 2020, we had our first case in Montezuma County. We were in a pandemic medical emergency right here at home. In the Montezuma County, there is, based on my research, about 26,183 people, or somewhere around there. If you include the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, then yes, that would bring it up to about 28,000. Community members over 65 years old is about 22.1%. Now, my understanding about SARS COVID-19 coronavirus, that it is a deadly disease that can and has killed a lot of people. If you look at some of the current statistics in the world, 4.63 million cases, recovered 1.68 million. Deaths, 311,000. So that's around an average of 6.7 based on just the cases. In the United States, 1.5 million, recovered 273,000. Deaths, 189,420. Average about 5.9%. State of Colorado, 26,938. Deaths about 1,215, around 5% also. Montezuma County, 29. 13 recovered, 2 deaths, around 6.8%. State of New Mexico, 6,096 as of this morning. 1,796, deaths around 265. Around 4.5%. San Juan County, New Mexico, 1,376. Deaths, 85, so they're around 6%. McKinley County, New Mexico, 1,953. The deaths were around 5%. Navajo Nation, 4,071, 142 deaths. They're the highest cases in the country as of today. They've exceeded New York. I also understand there is no cure for this COVID-19 coronavirus. Scientists are working around the clock to find a cure, but as of today, there is none. What I heard was that in some of the meetings that Montezuma County had, there was only 340 tested in the Montezuma County. Based on the population, that is less than 1% that have been tested. That leaves 99% of the total population of Montezuma County unknown. I was listening to some of your meetings, and your questions were, why are we still counting people that have recovered? Then change your process in recording for the Montezuma County so that we may all understand where we're going with this. Another one of your other questions was, this virus going to be here next week, next month? The answer is yes. It will be here until there is a cure. Then there was a question about the homeless people that hang around at the city park or other areas in Cortez. From the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, we want to update you on what we're working on with the state of Colorado, Southwest Health Systems, our Indian Health Service Clinic, and our Tribal Health Department in Toyac. Today, we are doing a mass testing for our community. We started off 9 o'clock this morning. We did apply for 2,000 kits, and we did get it. And working with the partners, we're working with getting all of our employees tested. That's mandatory for the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and all its employees on the tribal government and with the enterprises. And there'll be other requirements that'll be for each department. So today, starting at 9 this morning to 3, for everyone that wants to get tested, that includes members, community members. We have been successful with this in our community in White Mesa through a partnership with the state of Utah. They have a mobile testing unit that they did over there. And they brought 300 testing kits over there. And today, 2 weeks ago, we done 62 tests. They all came back negative. Last Wednesday, we done 77, and we had 2 positive. We have also been trying to work with the Southwest Health System and the Sheriff's Office on trying to address the homeless people here and getting them tested and possibly having them go through a quarantine process if tested positive. And we did set that up over at the fairgrounds. Now I understand it's over at the homeless shelter. And what we want to do is partner with Montezuma County and Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. And I've also called the president of the Navajo Nation asking them that you also have members up here that are also in the same predicament. And his chief of staff is supposed to get back with me on trying to help us to address that. We need to do these things in a partnership. I also understand the economic concerns of the 750 businesses here in the county. We as the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe are also feeling the impact on the revenue side of loss. We are the largest employer in the Montezuma County. It is a very challenging time for all of us, and we are dealing with so many unknowns. Montezuma County requested for a variance from the state of Colorado and was denied. Montezuma County commissioners responded by rescinding their declaration of emergency. Then Montezuma County commissioners passed a resolution to help businesses to get them started to open their businesses during the pandemic health emergency. During this time, as legislative bodies, as we are all at a loss in many aspects. We have never faced this type of adversary such as COVID-19, so we depend on recommendations or listen to the health experts or medical scientists on making our decisions as governments. At this time, has to be a tracking and tracing system for all the cases in Montezuma County. So as partners, we can be ready with some type of data that has been collected and recorded for the next wave that is yet to come later this year. Yes, the weather is warming up and some businesses can come back, but there has to be some guidelines and protocols for them to follow. The businesses are so important, also looking for some directions to be safe in their line of work. Montezuma County and the city of Cortez have put in place for businesses to follow and guide them as the business start back up. We need to all work together. What I've learned is if we are proactive together, then we can set benchmarks for other counties or other states to follow. On mask, during this time, I want to say I value my life and the people around me. We from the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe recommend that our members wear masks while they're shopping, and it's also mandatory for employees to wear it at work. So while they're shopping here in Cortez, they will be wearing masks based on recommendations from the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. These recommendations come from the Ute CDHPE to all of us. We each have the responsibility of making the right, healthy choice. I choose to wear a mask as I ask, respect my choice to wear one. Yes, we as the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe are a recognized sovereign tribal nation, and we have the right to govern our tribe through our tribal constitution in the best interest of our tribal membership. Our tribal council will continue to protect the tribal members and our tribal community. We may not always agree, but we agree to support one another on common concerns like COVID-19. In closing, I know we can accomplish both of our concerns from a health emergency perspective and on an economic startup side for the 750 businesses in Montezuma County. We can and we will get through this together. Thank you. Manuel Hart, Chairman of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe.
All right, thank you, Chairman Hart. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the chairman?
No, I think that was very, very well put, Manuel, and I think we, obviously we do. We all share the same concerns for our people and for our communities and for our economic basis in both the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and their enterprises, as well as the businesses here in Montezuma County and Cortez. And I think that's what we're guided to do, and that's what we've been trying to do with CDPHE is to find an avenue, to find a way that we can respect the Corona-19 virus and what it's doing in our communities, as well as having an opportunity to have some of our businesses survive this. And I don't want to call it a pandemic in Montezuma County because I don't believe that it is. We've got an illness, we've got the coronavirus in our community, but it is at a very minimal rate of cases for positive. I think the numbers here are awfully small. And for us to jeopardize the entire economic base of our communities, Dolores, Mancos, Cortez, and Toyoak, and your casino operations and the economic activity you have in Toyoak, I think this is where we've got to work together to find a way that we can help those businesses survive this time of illness that's within our communities, all of our communities. And I think there's a way to do that, but I think we have to have the state. I think the state needs to be a bit more cooperative with us down there. I think CDPHE needs to look more realistically at what we actually have going on in Montezuma County as far as the illness from this COVID-19. And I don't want to call it a pandemic here. I don't believe it is a pandemic here. We have the illness in our community. Some people have gotten it. Many of them, almost half of them, have recovered, and we have had 2 deaths because of that. And I don't want to diminish that at all. But I think we have got to find a way for the survivability of our county and our communities to find a way to start reopening our economic base here.
Chairman Hart, thank you for your words this morning, and thank you for the opportunity we had to meet yesterday and to discuss the tribe's concerns as well as CDPHE's concerns. I have added them in to our variance request, and I have an updated copy for you as well as Mr. Ortego this morning. And I've also drafted a letter of support that you're welcome to use or modify as you see fit. I think we were able to hopefully come to some agreements on things that both CDPHE and the tribe felt needed to be further addressed yesterday. And so you mentioned your desire to work together. I don't know if you had time to read the original plan all the way through or not, and I'm positive you haven't had time to read the revision all the way through because I didn't email it out until 1 o'clock this morning to the commissioners, and I've not emailed it to you or Mr. Ortego yet. But I have hard copies for you here, and I would ask that as the county looks at reopening businesses in a safe and responsible manner, and I don't think that it is beyond the capacity of the residents of Montezuma County to have compassion and respect for those who may have lost their health or those who may have lost a loved one, as well as those who have lost their jobs or a business and are maybe in danger of losing a business. I think we as a community can have compassion and respect on all of those groups, and would like to offer this opportunity to the Mountain Ute tribe to review this and to agree to sign a letter of support to reopen Montezuma County in a way that will provide for a healthy economy and a healthy population.
If I might respond to that, Shaq, a little bit. We will review this. We'll take a look at it. We are having a council meeting this coming Thursday, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Montezuma County. We'd like to make some recommendations of short-term and long-term goals. Right now, we're just now moving into summer, and the weather's getting warm, as I mentioned in my letter, and a lot of people want to get out and do things. But what happens when we get past the summer and we start getting into fall? Are the schools going to reopen back up? Are we going to support that for distant learning? Are we going to start looking at tracking now all the way till we get to fall? And that's why I mentioned that in my letter, and tracking, because right now we have a lot of vehicles coming up McAlamo Canyon, a lot of vehicles. And we're tracking from the Chimney Rock side, from 491 and 160, and we've had a lot of vehicles coming in. Just on Friday, we had 400 vehicles coming from Arizona. And with Navajo Nation having their restrictions, on Friday is when we'll have the most influx from traffic coming in. Now, there is no monitor or any type of traffic count on the McAlamo Road coming up, other than some of the sheriff departments going down that way patrolling. But we do have a huge influx coming in. And not only to Cortez, Blandine, Moab, Flagstaff, Farmington, all the surrounding towns of Navajo Nation. They're all feeling the same impact we're feeling. So we need to partner together to do short and long-term goals on how we're going to address this. COVID is here, and we need to try to address it on the health side too. So I support, and we support you all from Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, but we need to be able to put things on the table that we can discuss and come up with a plan that we can move forward with. We do support the businesses as we help out or we have a lot of employees, and some of them live up here in the Montezuma County. We support a lot of the businesses up here in Cortez, Mancos, Farmington, Dolores. So we want to support in the best way we can as Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. So with that, thank you, Shaq.
Thank you, Chairman. And the county health department, as well as myself, have agreed to work with the tribe to look at what could happen in the fall when weather cools off and students go back to school. And we're not opposed to working with you on trying to get plans in place. And so we agreed to be able to work with you on that. I don't think that we can wait until there's a finalized plan to reopen our businesses. I agree with you that this virus will still be here next week, next month, and likely next year. We still won't have a vaccine or a cure. I am concerned that many of our businesses will not be here at that point. And so I think it is a completely fair ask to work together towards having a plan when the fall arrives, and we can work towards that goal together, and also towards trying to open our businesses in a safe and responsible manner.
Shaq, can you go back to the 5 points, the revision of the plan after the discussion yesterday? You came up. You don't need to read just read what we are willing to do to try to make amends to where we can get the variance signed. Can you do that? There's only 5 points. It shouldn't take very long just to read those.
Can I stop you before he gets to that while he's
Sure.
looking at that, Commissioner? Also to you, Chairman Hart, time is of the essence now. So as I asked Mr. Ortego yesterday, we continually meet every day. We're not waiting for scheduled meetings. We are to the point of meetings are every day, and they are happening. I would request please, for the rest of our businesses, that you review this and have a special meeting tomorrow ahead of your planned meeting to see if we can have this with you. Time is of an essence. Everybody here is hanging on a thread, and the thread is as tight as a guitar string ready to break. So another 24 hours, it just keeps adding up. So I would request that we have an answer by tomorrow.
I will tell you right now, we will not be able to get you an answer by tomorrow. We too are in a lot of meetings ourselves, from national meetings to state meetings with tribes across this country on what direction we're going. So we will have something possibly maybe by Thursday. We are having a council meeting on Thursday, but I guarantee we won't have an answer for you by tomorrow.
So that is a maybe or a yes, you will have an answer for us by Thursday.
We're gonna work on it.
Okay, and the other thing that I wanted to, in your address to us, the deaths are being reported inaccurately. So the 1,215 deaths by COVID, that is an inaccurate statement. It's less than 900 now. So just make sure that's one of the frustrations that we have had, is the inaccurate information that we are getting and that's getting out to the public. That was part of that address that we did last week, and now they've changed the numbers within the state. So please, everybody realize that when inaccurate numbers are presented, you can make any graph look any way you want it, just move the numbers around. So just to point that out.
May I respond to that?
Absolutely.
The reason, and I knew you were gonna, or somebody was gonna ask that question today. The reason why we do that is to make an accurate number of cases total. How many cases have actually come into Montezuma County? How many cases have actually come into Ute Mountain Ute Tribe? That's the purpose of it. Yes, there is a recovery, and there is some people that have recovered, but what is the actual case to base it on? If you don't have an actual case, then some of this funding that you're going after is not gonna be enough to cover what you're planning for.
I was talking about just the deaths.
That too, that's all
The
included.
the statistical data
I-
for what's reported, that's fine if you have it, I get it.
I-
That's a statistic for reporting. But when you move the deaths from COVID, that's what I'm stating.
Understand that was brought up to the governor, and the governor is the first state out of the 50 states to do that, and they've readjusted it. And we did have, 3 deaths, and then they changed it based on what happened at that time and what was the cause of the death. So I understand that, but I just want to be able to be accurate too to our people, our community members, for us, for Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, our membership, so that we do understand that it could have been a possibility that it was that, even though the coroner said it was a different process. But that's our way of reporting, and we're a governing body, so if we're gonna report it that way, as I mentioned in my letter, if Montezuma County wishes to record it in a different manner, that's the legislative process that you have in place as a governing body.
I'd like to ask one question of Chairman Hart. Chairman Hart, we've welcomed you and some a council member and your legal counsel in our meetings here in Montezuma County, our commissioner meetings. With your meeting on Thursday, I don't think we've ever been invited in or asked to attend any of your council meetings. Would it be too much of an ask if one of the commissioners or a couple of the commissioners attended your Thursday meeting, given the gravity and the magnitude of what we're trying to get done here in Montezuma County? Would you welcome one or two of the commissioners to one of your tribal council meetings, just as we welcome you into our commissioner meetings?
Ute Mountain Ute Tribe has a sensitive agenda that's coming up this coming Thursday. You're welcome to call in. Chairman has called in a couple times on some of our briefings as we've discussed some of the stuff that we have. We can probably give you a number that you can call in to listen to, but some of our items are sensitive at this point, and we're not asking any people outside of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe to come in. We do still have a checkpoint in place, and it has to have authorization through me to come in, but you're welcome to listen in on the phone, and we can make that happen.
Can I ask you, Chairman, thank you for that offer.
Commissioner Sukla, apparently, is that Mr. Wall? I can't recognize behind him.
Hey,
Can I use this? How's everyone?
We're good.
You gotta turn the.
oh,
mic
Lindrith,
on.
you
Hit
need
that
to,
button on, right there. There you go. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name's Lindrith Wall. I'm a Ute Mountain Council member as well. I come here to also talk about our relationship with the county. I've always looked at this county as our home. We know each other. Artel, Sukla, Candelaria, we all work together. We have. And I believe we need to boost our economy really, really bad. It's in dire straits right now. But the old saying that I always see, when your health is not there, you got nothing. That's number one. And how we approach this matter each and every day. This monster is invisible. You can't see it, smell it, hear it. And I am part of this community as well, this county. Now, I am proud of this county. Mark me well, because I do support the little businesses too as well. Just to name a few, B&G, Pennington, Targary, even the bars that were here in the past. This here is a very important home for the Ute Mountain Ute tribe as well. We need to keep that relationship open. Sometimes it's impossible to make that decision right offhand. It takes time sometimes. But here as I stand before the commissioners, and I would like to see this opportunity to continue with the good working relationship. This is the time. This is the matter. I have a lot of good friends in the county. A lot of good friends. And some of my friends no longer exist. Thanks to my father. He'd always say, it's good to have friends. You never know who they may be someday. Because that's right. We got to work together. We got to find that. We got to make the right wording. I don't rehearse my speech. It comes from my heart. It comes from my mind. So this is the reason why I am here. I'm very concerned as a member of the Ute Mountain tribe as well as a council member. We need a working process. We need it. It needs to be there. We need to be very, 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 very creative in many things. So commissioners, county members, tribal members, we got to work together. We got to find the resolution. We got to find the answer. We got to find what we need to continue this relationship. Don't get me wrong, commissioners. I am very proud of this county and what it has done for us for years and years and years and years and years. So I want to reassure you as a council member, I want to see something that we can both agree on respectfully. I don't come here with a rude way. I come here with respect. And every one of you know who I am. We meet and talk in the streets. And I do support good wealth to us all. And I want to see that continuous. Mark my words. I am what I am, and I am who I am. I'm a human being as well. And I want to honor all of you here in this respectful way, in a good manner. And I'm not trying to make a name for myself. That's not what my process is. I want to see good harmony between the county and the Ute Mountain Ute tribe. So mine is not to be used in any way. That's positive role model, positive ways. That's what I'm looking at as this world. And it's surrounding. And our neighboring tribe, the Navajo tribe, is getting pounded, even as we speak, on numerous death. And also, I speak for the Navajo tribe as well. They're taking a pounding. I have lost a lot of good friends in that area, and as well as county people here too. And I knew the two individuals that also was gone. I met one of the family members. We met in Safeway where we're both shopping. How unique is that? Because why? We're all in the business together. We all are. And I know all you commissioners, trucking, funeral home, and the cattle business. We all have this relationship together. And we knew that. Sometimes we forget how we look at it. Sometimes we forget, hey, I've been part of the Ute Mountain tribe. Hey, I'm part of the community of Cortez. Cortez is my hometown. It always been, always will. I grew up here, I went to school here, got educated here, and I don't want to see any business shut down. By golly, I don't want to see that at all. I want to see it continue. I want to see growth. My vision is, we never know until years to come. This Cortez and Toyac, my reservation may connect someday in the future. That road 13 miles south of us might be Main Street someday. Think about it. I am looking in this matter because it means us all well. Like I said, we don't have Target anymore. We don't have Pennington's anymore. We don't have Vitakiss anymore. It's gone. But we learn from it. That's a past we never, ever forget. So I don't want to take too much of your time, gentlemen, and I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak for behalf of all of us, so we can make something happen in a good way, with a good manner, and for the future, by God. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Linwood. I know the meeting you said is sensitive, and I just got a couple of questions about, so what happens after you test everybody? I mean,
Wait for the results.
yeah. So when you get the results, then what?
Then our plan is to, if we have any positive cases, we have a process set in place for positive cases where they'll have to quarantine. There's two types of quarantine. One is at-home quarantine with the guidelines on what to do when you're at home. If you choose to quarantine outside of your house, we're trying to set something up at the RV park over by the casino. If it gets to a medical status, then we're working with Southwest Health Systems. They identified a certain number of rooms there, and we can house them there.
So it'd be a 14-day quarantine if they test positive, but they don't have any symptoms.
Correct.
And then what happens if not all of your people want to take the test?
The members are recommended to do the test because we want to start a data process for our tribe. We also want to get ready for short and long-term goals when fall comes. As we're starting to receive some of these funds, we want to be able to prepare and put some away and get ready for this coming fall and winter when the COVID does come back. But for our employees, it'll be mandatory that they get all tested.
But it'll be voluntary if you're just a tribal member.
Tribal members will be volunteering, but we're recommending to our elders and the ones that are most vulnerable, especially since there's one that's identified now for children.
All right, and so Chairman, on this, what we're going back to about the variance, there's not any numbers that there needs to be so many tests. The Ute tribe doesn't feel like there's a certain number of people that need to be tested before they would sign on to this. Is that correct? You haven't got to read this, so I understand, but just I'm asking you, is there a certain number of people that need to be tested in Montezuma County before the tribal council would feel that it would be safe to open the businesses up?
Yes, that is a question that Shaq brought to my attention a couple days ago. I think there is a certain number that we need to look at right now. You guys are at 1% or less. I think if we got up to 10%, I think is what the requirement is.
So my understanding, sorry to interject in the conversation here, and I'm going to have to pull up. I apologize. I got to find the right document to pull up now.
I guess one of my concerns is that how do we get to those tests if there's a lot of people that don't want to take the test? How do we get to the number?
So I'd like to,
Go ahead.
if I may, read the response. In CDPHE's response to Montezuma County's initial variance application, concern was noted that from the time of the submittal, May 4th, 2020, to the time of CDPHE's response, May 11th, 2020, although they did not email that letter dated May 11th until May 12th, the cases in Montezuma County went from 19 total positives to 25 cases. In a recorded meeting on May 18th, which was yesterday, with participation from 6 members of Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, a Montezuma County Commissioner, the Montezuma County Administrator, the Montezuma County Attorney, the Montezuma County Public Health Department Director, Montezuma County Public Health Physician, a member of Colorado Counties Incorporated, and the Ute Mountain Ute Tribal Attorney. CDPHE acknowledged that the number of cases at the time was 28. Additionally, CDPHE acknowledged that of the 28, 12 were currently sick. Montezuma County has a population of 26,183, as the chairman stated today. The total number of currently sick, 12, is 0.00045 of the population of the county. The requirement from number 1 above is to have low case counts. The goal stated by CDPHE and the governor of Colorado is to keep the case count under 10%. Both the cumulative cases and current sick count is far below a percent or even a mil, which is 1,000th. CDPHE also stated that the state average for testing was 2,256 per 100,000. At the time of this writing, which was about 12:30 this morning, at the time of this writing, there have been more than 545 tests conducted in Montezuma County. Montezuma County believes this goal has been accomplished and will be more than doubled by the time that the state reviews the revision. 100,000 divided by the population of Montezuma County, 26,183, is 3.8. 545 completed tests multiplied by the same factor of 3.8 gives 2,071 tests per 100,000, a difference of 185 from the state norm. The Ute Mountain Ute tribe has been sent 2,000 tests to begin 2-day mass testing campaign on May 19th and 20th, 2020. And did those tests come in at midnight as they were promised?
Yes.
Okay. Additionally, CDPHE has committed to send the county an additional 1,000 tests to begin a mass testing campaign. It is further noted that in Montezuma County's early attempts to receive additional test kits from CDPHE and from the Strategic National Stockpile, Montezuma County was often bumped to lower positions on the distribution list because of the county's considerably low case counts.
I'd hope that the tribe will, and the council will take into consideration just a little bit different look on the businesses that are currently being closed and the ones that are currently being open. And so I've got some numbers here. The Roundup store, which is the little gas station at 184 and 491, since May 15th that the shutdown has when it occurred, to last week, I don't know what their numbers are this week, was over 24,100 and some people have walked in and out of the Roundup store. The brother of the Roundup store has Cox Conoco in Mancos, and he does 3 times that amount of business. So that means in this 90 days, or it hasn't even been 90 days actually, he's had 60-some thousand people in his walk in and out of his store. I have no idea how many people have walked into IFA, but it would have to be hundreds of thousands, as well as City Market, Big R, Safeway, and Walmart. My gosh, they might have more people walked in and out of there in the last 2 months than go visit Mesa Verde. I don't know that. But our thoughts are that if you was to open more businesses and spread it out where less people were going into a concentrated area, that would probably be safer for our constituents. I mean, it makes sense if social distancing is that important, then the more that we spread out the people, the more businesses that are open, the less businesses are so hammered and, that many people. Would you consider that at your meeting on Thursday?
Yeah, we can consider it, but there's some things that we need to really take a look at too. It's great that a lot of these people are coming in, but social distancing is not really being adhered to. People are not really wearing masks, and as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of influx coming in on some of the roads that come into Montezuma County, and if there was a system where we track them, such as CDOT could come in and track some of these vehicles coming in, just so we're aware of it. If we're being partners and working together, then I'd like to know the numbers too. I'm doing it on the south side by Chimney Rock on our tribal lands, but I don't have no authority on the Calmo. So if there was a way that we could get something on County Road G, then maybe we can request it. And coming into the stores, if those, as you guys stated, you're gonna put out a survey on how many customers are coming in, or some of them doing curbside, or some of them not having enough customers come in. I understand all your process in trying to get these businesses going, but we still have two issues here. One is the business, and one is the healthcare, the concerns that we have for everybody, not just Ute Mountain, not just businesses, but everybody that comes into the county, because a lot of them are coming in from outside the state. Navajo Nation is the hottest area right now in the country, and we need to be aware of that, and especially the businesses. So if somebody comes in, we don't know who has it or not. They could walk right by us and be calm and not coughing, no symptoms, and next thing you know, somebody's sick. And that spread of that virus is going to be so phenomenal that we won't have enough money to catch up on it. So pre-planning and working together in a joint common cause is what we're asking. So that's why we have to be upfront. And yes, we might not agree on certain things, and yes, we might agree on some things, but it's a working thing that we need to work together on. We do support all 750 businesses here in Montezuma County, and with this coming about right now, tourism. We are a tourism town, and we're the gateways to the southwest or the gateways to the mountains, and tourism is going to be impacted substantially, and that's where some of this revenue comes from. So if you don't have tourists, who are you going to rely on? Your local people around us. But let's make sure that these local people that are coming into our county are healthy and they understand some guidelines of 6-foot distancing, mask, things of that nature. Hopefully that answers your question, sir.
All right. Any other questions, Commissioners or Shaq?
No, Chairman.
I would just like to make the last request of please get to us as quickly as possible Thursday. Please send us the number so that we can listen in. If it's a sensitive meeting, I understand that. But that way we can be there for questions and answer for you also.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chairman, for coming and addressing the Montezuma County Board of Commissioners.
Thank you all. Be safe.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have the weed department. I see, is Megan here?
Yes, I guess Bonnie's spraying today.
Okay, Megan, can you hear us?
You're muted, Megan.
How am I now?
Can you hear us?
Yes, I sure can.
Okay, now we can hear you.
Perfect. Okay, so we just have a quick update for you guys. And one.
Megan, can you get a little closer to the mic?
Microphone, yeah, we can barely hear you.
How's that? Is that
There
better?
you
That's
go.
way better.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I just have a quick update and one right of entry request. Oh, let me see. Okay, so, I have biocontrol. We've released 4,000 Russian knapweed wasps the other day. We'll also be releasing weevils for the Dalmatian toadflax and beetles on the salt cedar or tamarisk later on in the season. We're working on our roadsides. We've got bare ground with the esplanade, and it looks really, really awesome, which is going to definitely pay off in the long run. We're still working on the bare ground. We had to pause a little bit to get caught up on mapping, enforcements. We're doing some leafy spurge stuff, some Mediterranean sage, black henbane. I mean, we're pretty busy right now. Don is still spraying full time, and he's targeting the kochia and the hoary cress. We're having a really hard time with the kochia this year. It seems to be really chemically resistant to the herbicides. So we're using multiple modes of action. So a lot of different, we're switching up our chemicals this year. Okay. Then we have our Russian olive project. Our crew has already slayed 1,074 Russian olives, 198 salt cedars, which is saving us about 10.7 acre feet. We should be up and running with the excavator and the mulcher the beginning of June. We have 34 properties on our list this year, and we've already completed 7. We did not get the National Wildlife Foundation grant, which was going to help make this a free program. And then Bonnie also applied for the Colorado Water Conservancy. Thank you. I'm having a hard time. But it was postponed thanks to all the COVID-19 stuff. But we should hear back in July about that one. So hopefully we can get that. Let's see. Our public outreach. This is just since May 1st. We've spoken with, and that's just as of yesterday because I've already done 5 landowners today. But we've spoken with 95 owners. We've had 20 landowners come into our office. There's another phone call. We've had 18 landowners contact us via social media, so that's through our Facebook page. We've loaned out 9 backpack sprayers, and we've done 7 property visits and have 3 more scheduled just this week, and then we have 15 more on our list. So we've been really busy reaching all of our county landowners here. Now, we were really busy with our mapping, and so when we map a lot, we end up sending out a lot of different notifications. So this year, for the very first time, we sent 32 properties a letter about hoary crest and 78 properties with Russian knapweed. The second year map, so this is the second time we've mapped those weeds on that property, we sent out 121. Third year, 83. Fourth year, 38. Fifth year, 15. And just one property we've mapped 6 years in a row. But it's not a big enough problem, we feel, to, and that landowner has been in contact with us, so we don't feel we need to enforce that property. We've also called a bunch of these guys. We were able to get a bunch of phone numbers, and so we're trying to reach out more that way as well, instead of just sending out the letters. We've also emailed a bunch of them. We're just trying different ways, because I know, sometimes our letters kind of scare people a little bit. So we're trying to do more phone calls, more emails. Our right of entries. So just this year, the BOCC, you guys have approved 8 right of entries, but we've canceled 3 of those. And that is because once we send the right of entries, I think it's kind of waking these landowners up, and they're finally contacting us. And so we're able to work out a plan, which is what we want in, that's our main goal anyways, is to be able to work out a plan with them. We also wanted to make it a point that even though we, have to enforce certain properties, we're still honoring our cost share program for those landowners, which is we will reimburse them 50% of herbicide costs. Okay, so we have one right of entry for you guys today. It's the Allen property on to be determined Road 22. It's right there by Narrow Gwinnett. We've sent them letters in 2016, 2019, and 2020. They signed for the certified letter on the March 14th. And here's some of the pictures of their property, and it's just absolutely infested with the hoary cress. If you can tell right there in that rabbit rush, that's all hoary cress, that little white stuff there.
All right, well, thank you, Megan. We'll bring it back to the commissioners for discussion. Commissioners, any discussion on this right of entry?
No, I think that we have to continue trying to get the weed control situation under control. So with that, I would move that we accept the resolution granting Montezuma County Weed Program or its designees right of entry onto property to control noxious weeds based on affidavit of the county weed supervisor, noxious weed resolution number 9, 2020.
Second.
Motion is second to approve a resolution granting the Montezuma County Weed Program or its designee right of entry into property to control noxious weeds based on the affidavit from the county weed supervisor. The noxious weed resolution is number 9-2020. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Megan. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, have a good day.
Hey, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Eugene, is it Felker? Is that how? He's going to give us an update about the racetrack. So, Eugene, if you'd come on up. Is it red? No, turn it on.
It's on now?
You have to look at the button at the
Push
bottom.
that button
I
on the
can't tell
bottom, right
without
there on the
looking at
bottom.
it.
Right there, there.
It's on? Okay, maybe it's just
Yeah,
me,
we
I'm
can
not
hear
close enough. First off, I'm gonna throw this up here so you guys can see the kind of signage and verbiage that we had at the track all weekend.
You know, would you turn that around so that the people that are watching, that video camera's up there high, so actually lean it right there.
Yeah, that's perfect.
My name's Eugene Felker. I'm the current track promoter out at the Fairgrounds Speedway. Came to you guys and we all got together and you guys allowed me to race this past weekend. I was hoping to keep just our 80, 90 cars that we built the track up to racing, and it kind of blew up on me. I followed all of the rules that we agreed upon. Just to give you a little rundown, we had 178 cars on average each day, 3.1 people per car each day for 551 people. I had 71 people that I employed from Montezuma County to come out and work. Most of these people were unemployed, and I hope it helped them. It's not a lot, but I hope it helped them. We had cars from 10 states here. It wasn't done intentional. They found out we were racing, and they drove here. The races were actually videotaped by a thing called Race XR. I knew nothing about it. They approached me and said, hey, you can't have fans. Can we videotape your races? There was 1,133 views per day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, from people all across the country, all the way to New York, that watched these races. I personally think that we did an outstanding job. I did everything that we agreed upon. I went above and beyond with a lot of stuff. As earlier I mentioned, I gave every person that came through their own hand sanitizer. There was hand sanitizers in all of the bathrooms. We kept everything clean. We did a really good job of policing ourselves because no driver wanted to be responsible for getting that track shut down. My wife did tell me that Larry Don came out and Shaq came out, and I wish you guys would have hit me up. There was a few people, because you're doing something, you're not accustomed to having a mask on all the time, and you would walk away. And I had enough people out there that would police it and make sure that they got their mask up. It looked like there was 1,000 people out there, but we had people 20 feet apart, so it looked like it was bigger than it was. The no fans in the stands hurt me, I'm not going to lie, but we did something, I think, for this community to prove that you guys should be able to open up. There's ways to do this. We did it, we accomplished it. Every person that came through that gate, their name, address, phone numbers, temperatures were taken. We did it the right way, and it was very successful. I cannot even imagine the kind of revenue that was dumped into the county this weekend. We did ask the people that if you don't need to go into town, don't go, and if you do go, try to send one person. I can't control all of that. I'm here today to let you know that I think it was a success, and on our normal schedule, we race again this weekend, and I want to know if with what we've done and what we've proved, can we continue to race? Other tracks are opening up, so we're not going to have the kind of car count that we had. Arizona's opening up this coming weekend, so those guys aren't coming back. But we still have our normal racers who want to continue. I don't know how long it'll be before we can put fans in the stands, even at a 10% rate, a 20% rate. It would help me if we were allowed to, and I could do the same thing for those people that I do for the drivers that came through the pit. We could take names, numbers, temperatures. It's a lot of work, but in all, I think it was good. So the people can hear it that can't see the sign. It says, enter at your own risk. Fairground Speedway, Turn 4 Promotions, Montezuma County is not responsible for your welfare. This includes the COVID-19. It says the rules that must be followed: wear a mask or face covering when outside your pit area. Be respectful and stay in your own groups. No groups larger than 6 are allowed. Do not shake hands. We started doing the elbow bump when we would walk by. Stay 6 feet apart. The rest of it is what we always follow. No fighting, no arguing. It won't be tolerated. And because I lease the track, I have that right to refuse service to anyone that we don't want there. There is quite a few people that I have 86 that can never come back as long as I'm the promoter, because I don't tolerate it. You guys went out of your way to help us, and I'd like to continue on if it's okay. We already have all of our local people that want to race again this weekend, and I said I'm not sure if we can race until I have permission. We could follow the same exact guidelines that we did. I do want to say I think the 20 feet might have been a little excessive. I had to get with Justin and rent the big parking lot, and that hurts, but I had to do it to make sure that we followed all of the guidelines that we agreed upon. So it's...
What did it cost you to rent the big parking lot?
He's going to make me a deal on it because I was I wasn't forced. We agreed to stay 20 feet apart. Normally it's $750 a day to rent the parking lot. I didn't use the whole parking lot up. Justin made me a deal. He goes, you know what, if you will do $300 a day, I'll let you have the parking lot. I'm not going to argue with that, guys. I'm going to pay it because I needed it, because I had to separate the cars. I wanted to make sure that we were doing everything that we agreed upon. So I do not have a problem with renting that parking lot, trust me. I'm glad he gave me a break. If it would have been the $750 a day, I don't know what I would have done. But
Did he run that by you, Shaq?
He did, yes, sir.
so that's where I
Run it
stand.
by the commissioners, you might have even got a better deal.
Well, I might need a couple hundred feet of it this weekend if we have to stay 20 feet apart, if you guys will allow me to continue to race.
Well, I was there and you wasn't using the whole parking lot. I don't think it would be justified to charge the full amount anyway. In fact, we don't have any other events there. I don't know why you should be charged if you're going to be using 200 feet of the parking lot. I mean, it's, I don't know.
I think your benefit.
What do you anticipate for racers this weekend?
I'm sorry?
What do you anticipate?
Locally with a few cars that we know that are going to come back. There's a class of cars that there's nowhere for them to run. We normally have in between, and it varies on a night. Jay Keibel was sitting back there. We normally run 70 to 90 cars. From last year, we built up from a 42 car count. I've increased that number of local cars. I talked to Justin this morning. I said, you know, I may need a little bit of that parking lot if we have to stay 20 feet apart. The max I'll probably have this weekend is around 100 to 110. People have already hit us up. We kind of know who wants to be here, who don't. With them racing in Arizona, we lost a lot of those cars, and trust me, that's okay. I probably got 10 hours of sleep the whole week last week because it takes a lot to get that track ready, and I thought we could do it in 2 weeks, and it really wasn't ready to be raced on. But we got it, you know, we did it, and then the whole weekend turned out beautiful. One thing I do want to mention, I would sure like somebody with a tourism board to get with me. I know everything's shut down right now. Numerous people, and I'm talking hundreds, were really disappointed that have never been here before. They want to come back because they want to go to Mesa Verde. They want to go to the Four Corners. They want to see things. Millard County in Utah, Delta, Utah, their tourism board actually works with the racetrack promoter, and they help the racetrack. They bring in tons of tourism. They bring people to the racetrack that would normally not come. The people who come to the racetrack also goes and spends money at the thing that brings in the tourism. So later on down the road, when life gets somewhat back to normal, I would love to sit down and work with these guys, because there's a golden opportunity here for everyone. In 1 year, I've doubled the capacity of that racetrack and the fans. It's a great place.
So Mesa Verde Country and or the Tri-City Chambers would be the one that you would want to get with as far as your tourism, as far
Okay.
as how to
Okay.
manage that with that,
Your efforts, yeah.
to
Yeah.
combine your efforts, so.
And that's a great thought. I mean, I'm glad you think that way, Mr. Felker, because that enhances everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
that enhances everybody to do that.
So like our last race that we have scheduled in September, you know, you had to move the home show and all of that stuff to the end of September. I've talked to, I believe, everyone, and I've encouraged them, look, race cars are allowed, but if you're in front of that rodeo arena, it's really not that bad. I've encouraged them, hey, that last weekend, let's work together. I do not have a problem with you guys being there, nothing. Racers' wives will go to the home show. They'll go to the Ag Expo. The guys are out here for 12 hours a day working on their cars before the races, so that's going to draw people over to them also. There might be people there that have never been to the racetrack that might come over. It might benefit me also. There's no reason that we all can't just work together. I got nothing against horses. I got nothing against ag equipment, and I think that in September, that last week in September, I think you're going to see some huge numbers come through that fairgrounds, because we're all going to be there together, and I think it's going to be awesome.
You know, I think that when you made the deal to be the promoter of the track, you made that deal knowing that the stands would be open. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And so as far as our part, you know, we can't open the stands yet, and I think that you should be given some a benefit allowance on the parking. I think the fee should be waived until we can meet our agreement that you can open the stands.
Okay.
I don't know how the other commissioners feel, but
Well, I think that's being fair, because the revenue source for a lot of that racing out there are the people that come and buy tickets to come watch the races and sit in the stands and do the concessions and all of that. And right now, he's precluded from having that. So I think that small amount, $200 or $300, to allow him to expand into part of our large parking lot, I don't think we should put that on him, because his source of revenue has been not at our fault. It's not our fault either, but it's nonetheless, it's a reality that he doesn't have that revenue source out there. So I think we let him use that portion of the parking lot and be glad that he's out there and bringing some people to this town and doing something.
Just to give you a little idea, I spent about $2,000 at the Maverick on fuel since May 1st. Yeah, I'm here today. I wanted to give you an update on what we did and how we ran it. We'd like to continue on, and if we do everything like we did last weekend, as long as I keep doing what we agreed upon, would it be okay for us to continue? The only way that I would personally stop is if something happened and there was an outbreak, I would cancel immediately. That's one of my big concerns. I could shut it down the night before the races if there was an outbreak. It's just nice knowing that when I leave here today, will I be able to get on my Facebook page and go, okay, guys, we are going to race, same guidelines, blah, 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 things like that.
let's find out.
For the
think-
commissioner's consideration, I'd like to point out, I did drive through the races on Saturday. I went in, they got all my background information, they took my temperature. Even the people riding alone, his crew and the side-by-sides, riding by themselves, were wearing masks. I didn't see a gathering of more than 6 people at any one spot that wasn't spread out by at least 20 feet. And when I finished there, I went across the street to Phil's World. The parking lot was absolutely packed, side by side. There are at least 4 vehicles, whom I'm assuming didn't come from the same household, sharing lunch together. Nobody checked their temperatures, nobody checked where they came from. They weren't wearing masks, they weren't social distancing, and none of those same requirements were put on the people across the street. So I would like the commissioners to consider the manner in which Mr. Felker conducted his activities this weekend.
I'm surprised that if they did a background check on you, that you're not in jail.
You gotta say that while the sheriff's here?
Well, I would like to
I
make
think
a-
that, let me, before you do
Go
that,
right
and I'm
ahead.
okay with it, but
Go right ahead.
I haven't interjected, as long as, again, I think we're talking about the parking lot as one issue or concern, which I would agree, as long as you're keeping that distance of that 20 feet, you don't have enough real estate to actually to
Right.
abide by that, and as long as you're doing that, I would also agree that that fee could be waived, and it sounds like you're gonna have less people this.
Yeah, if I did the math right, I used that GIS map and we marked it off. There won't be as many people out there. There could possibly be 20, 25 people out there. I would still be using this end of the parking lot.
Sure, and that's okay.
And because of that, I would have to set up the road again, block it off, so they have to come through us before they come in.
Yeah, just the logistics, you have to have the sheriff deputy right there.
Yes,
And that's in the other parking lot.
yeah.
Right.
And
So the fee waiving, I think we're all on board on that as far as waiving that fee because of the real estate is not adequate for the purpose of the 20 feet. And as far as I know, everything was approved, so I think you run your business the way you see fit to run your business. This is basically what this has been set forward as a lease to you. It's now your business.
Okay.
yeah, I don't think you need to come back to see us.
I'll try to give Shaq updates and stuff, and then if something happens and there is an outbreak, I know he will let me know. That's my only concern. If there is, I'm going to shut that place down like that. One thing I do want to say, I didn't personally see the lady. I was told several times that there was someone from the health department there taking photos. And so I stepped out earlier this morning and I called a couple of the people, and I don't know the name, so if I say this wrong, I apologize. Lauren or Laura or something like that. Does she work for the health department? A Lauren or something like that?
There's a,
Laura Schaefer?
Schaefer. So I caught the last name. Two people that they said it was actually her. I have no issue with any of you guys coming out. I have no issue with the health department coming out. I am really ticked off because the only way she could have got in there was snuck in. That bothers me. Larry Don, you went through the gate, you signed in. Shaq, you went through the gate, you signed in, you got your temperature taken. That person is no better than anybody else that comes in that facility. And if it was her, and that's what they told me her name was, that was absolutely wrong. If she would have came to us, we would have took her temperature, her name, and we would have let her in. So the only possible way for her to get in was to sneak in. That's wrong, guys. Other than that, you know what? It was successful. I thank you guys. I thank the community. One of these days we'll get to open back up and be normal out there. People are chomping at the bit. So,
I think
But,
you're putting on a well-run race.
just so you guys know, it was the largest race anywhere in the western region, anywhere in the United States on the western region. IMCA said it's never, ever happened, and they don't know how we pulled it off.
I
job.
also just got a text here from the Tri-City Chambers. I'm going to give you a name and an address and a phone number that you can get a hold of this person, and they'll help you with your promotional.
Oh, thank you. All right, guys, that's all I got to say about it. I think there might be somebody else here that's got something to say.
All right.
So, thank you guys very much.
Mr. Felker. Good job.
Okay, we have the Fair Board update with Alan Higgins, which is the Fair Board president. That'd be fine.
Wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
We just, we had our meeting last night, guys, our Fair Board meeting. We postponed the one for April. All the Fair Board's pretty much on board to go ahead with the fair. We just want your guys' blessing that we move forward with our full-fledged fair. You know, if something happens, there can be a chance that we will lose some of our budget. But, I mean, who knows right now what will go on. There are a few on the Fair Board that are concerned, you know, about the legality of stuff. You know, if something was to break out there, if people can come back and sue them for exposing them to the COVID-19 or whatever. So they wanted to ask John if there is a clause in there that the Fair Board members won't be liable for that kind of stuff, or if we need to just put signs up, kind of like what Eugene did.
Okay, I think John's going to weigh in.
Right. I wouldn't worry about it. Can you guys see me? I can't tell if you can see me.
Yeah, we can see you.
We can see you.
Yeah, looking
Okay,
good.
fine. I wouldn't worry about it. You do need to follow the laws that are in place, which are right now the CPHE orders. And if you don't, maybe they can try to sue you. So we don't put personal indemnification clauses in. I mean, certainly you guys are covered by the same Colorado Governmental Immunity Act that we are. But I think someone's going to have a difficult time suing somebody for catching COVID-19 these days. So I don't think you need to do anything in particular. Follow laws, be prudent. You know, I think signs like that don't hurt, but just to reinforce what's healthy.
Okay.
Thank you, John. Commissioners, any questions for Alan, or you got more, Alan?
Well, and that's, I mean, as the commissioners, what do you guys want to see? What direction do you want us to go forward with? Do you want us to keep planning for the full-fledged fair, and if things don't release, we start backing it down? Our concert, we are not out any money on our concert. We don't pay until the night they show up. So, you know, we won't be out any of that money on that side. You know, we have all of our awards already purchased. They're being shipped as we speak, probably, or, you know, they'll be here by fair. In the back of our minds, we are going with a plan B, C, D, you know, as the restrictions are, you know. Even if the restrictions are on right now, I think there still is a way to have a county show for the kids, you know, with under 10 kids in the show ring together. So I think we can move forward with that part no matter what and still have our county fair. You know, we've talked about if that's the case, you know, have a, you know, videoed where grandparents can sit home and watch it, where we don't have all the spectators around, to keep our numbers down. That's kind of our thoughts. We just wanted your guys' thoughts on what you guys think as the commissioners.
I think we've pretty much openly stated in one or two meetings ago that we would like to see a fair being planned for just as it was last year.
Okay.
Obviously, I think the request that we had was that it was shortened anyway. Instead of 7 or 8 days, that it was condensed
They've already, I think,
to 3 or 4.
right?
Yeah.
So I think if you guys have already done that, I think, or at least from this commissioner, that we still plan on that with Plan B, C, how many ever plans that you have into it. But I'm going to look at this as this also is your fair business that you guys have to conduct the best that you possibly can as a business going forward with it, whether it's Plan A, B, C. But hopefully Plan A by that time, and we're still looking, you know, at the end of July or 1st of August, right?
Yeah, at the end of July, 1st of August.
So we're still 72
days away.
72 days away. So hopefully, we're keeping our fingers crossed that, you know, things will be back in order at that point in time.
Okay.
I did have a question. I think I talked to you prior to this, Ellen, but What, if the kids can only just show and they don't actually have a sale, what was your take on that?
With the survey that we've done, a lot of people already know, the sale is not gonna be that great probably, but, a lot of the kids wanna have a show no matter what, a live show, not virtual, an actual live show. And I mean, it's part of the business. I mean, some years you hit it good, some years you don't. So, it kind of depends on everything that you guys talked about today in here on the businesses. What happens with the businesses in the county on what support we have at the fair on a sale. I mean, that's what it is. But like I said, most people we surveyed, they want to have at least a show. They're not too concerned the sales part of it, but that's not what it's all about.
Okay, good.
So I think we go at least the shows to make sure we move forward.
Well, hopefully Walmart will step up to the table and I mean, they've been getting all the business, so you
Yeah.
would think that,
And there's a lot of people that are, community members out there that are looking to purchase, an animal now because there's nothing in the stores. So
It might get better.
it might be better, it might not, who knows? But, I think that's, in my mind, that's the smallest part of the fair anyways. Getting these kids, there's a lot of seniors, it's their last year, their graduations got taken away from them. So at least they'd have their last year of 4-H to go through with. We are planning on doing our tag-in was canceled, at the 1st of May. So we're actually talking about, they did the online tag-in, but we're actually talking about doing the actual tag-ins, the Fair Board is, because the extension office is still on their, whatever you want to say.
Furloughs, they're
Yeah.
off.
Their directives from
Yes.
CSU.
So, we've got plans in place to follow all the rules, so we're not, overstepping anything.
But that being said, the CSU does work for us. We pay, the 2 employees as full salaries. They are county employees, they're not CSU salaries. So I would think that Andrea, would still be there to help participate.
Okay.
I don't know what you
Andrea and Kathy are working. Greg and Tom are continuing to work remotely. Now, I'm not sure where we were at the tag-in process.
And the tag-in, last night at the meeting, it's something to do with the superintendents because they are under CSU. Far as I guess you'd say the jurisdiction. So it's not a big deal. It's a pretty simple process that we kind of got figured out. We just send information to them. They can put it out to all the kids, parents, families, and, one night go to the fairgrounds, nobody gets out. We tag the animals and go on. Or if the superintendents do it, they have to sign a release form that.
A waiver?
A waiver, yes. And then there's another thing that they talked about last night, CSU sending out another waiver for all the participants, to clear CSU, I guess.
Well, I know that CSU throughout the counties in Colorado has been sending out information that they're not, they are discouraging having a
Yeah.
fair. But I know of multiple counties that are, that they're not heeding that if they're gonna have their fair anyway.
Yeah.
Chairman, I'm getting a call from Greg Felson. Do you want to let him weigh into what's
Sure.
being said?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. He's our county.
Whoops,
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
is.
get it answered in time, but I will get him right back.
Anyway,
So he's
long-
listening.
Planning on having the fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to.
I think we plan on it, and 72 days away is a long way away.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, I've got you on speakerphone at the Board of County Commissioner
Well,
meeting.
just let them know Kelly Kaminsky's coming to my office right now. I'm in the office. We're working on all of these documents right after this meeting. So, no, we are a proud partner of the county working on these things. I just don't want Alan to misconstrue what the meeting was last night.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah. Glad
Thank
you're
you,
working
Greg.
on it. Glad you're working on it, Greg. and
Were you able to hear the commissioners? Greg, were you able to hear the commissioners?
Now not recently. I'm just listening to you now. I think there must be a bit delay.
Yeah, there's a
delay.
delay. They said thank you for working together on this.
Wonderful. We're look forward to a county fair this year.
So plan
All
on
right,
a,
thank you.
plan on a fair,
Did the commissioners have anything else for, oh no, he's gone, never mind.
plan on a fair with.
And
I
I mean,
would say-
that's, I guess one of our other questions too was on the budget. It's kind of a toss-up, you know, if we lose some money, we might not make back what we were originally supposed to. You know, if the concert goes south, you know, no derby, if you guys are well aware of what could happen.
But you have a cushion, you guys had a carryover from last year, did you not,
Yes.
Alan? And so I think with your carryover
And our concert is actually cheaper than what we anticipated,
right,
so.
so plan for the best, and then we'll all accept whatever responsibility we need to if it doesn't happen.
And I think that's just part of your business plan now as the fair board moving forward, knowing that you may have X, Y, or Z to deal with, so.
Okay.
And know that we support you.
Okay.
Know that we're with you.
Right.
We overwhelmingly support you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Alan.
72 days, everything is gonna change.
We have public lands. Is Derek Padilla on the line and Connie Clemson?
I see Connie, I see
I
Derek,
see Matt's here.
they're here.
Matt, would you like to come present first? Because you're here and I know you're out of Durango, so we don't want to keep you too long.
You guys want me to?
You can do whatever you want.
You do whatever you're comfortable with.
That's up to you.
We are more than 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
I have to, well, I gotta be careful what I say. Yes, so,
I don't think you could get one of those on with your mustache anyway.
Well, you already got a mask on.
I think my wife actually, she says I should wear the mask more often, so I may have to just to hide more of my face.
All right, well, Derek, we see you, but if you can hold on for just a second, we're going to go ahead and Matt's going to give us an update real quick. Is that okay? Okay, thank you, Derek.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys fitting me in. I know we planned to go for June. I just wanted to give you guys some updates. And I'll start kind of at the big statewide level and then kind of focus down more towards Montezuma County issues. You'll recall last time we talked, we were in the process every 5 years we do a big game season structure, which sets the general framework for how big game seasons are going to go statewide. One of the big things that came out of it that has a local impact is, I've talked with you guys many times over the last several years about, concerns about our elk herds. And so one of the steps that we've taken was we actually have limited our archery elk, the number of licenses. That's been a place where we've had a lot more pressure. If you think about it, it's during the breeding season. So that I think is going to be a good step forward. It's not that we're going to limit it to a point where you can't draw a license or get a license, but it is going to help us to just control that pressure. So what we've done for this first year in the license recommendations, essentially there's going to be about the same number of licenses out there, but instead of having the ability to get either bull or cow, we're going to steer people toward bull licenses to try to preserve those cows, hopefully to have more carryover. Over time, we may start to taper down those numbers, but we heard loud and clear from the public. They don't want it to be a trophy unit, nothing like that. This is really about the biology of it. Also about there are a lot of concerns with crowding during those early seasons. So I think that's a good positive step for us with trying to manage these elk herds.
Hey, Matt, before you get too far, have you got statistics on the decline in the calf crops in your elk herds? Have you got numbers over the last 10 years on what kind of a decline you're seeing in your?
So, generally, if you look at kind of the historical average, we've averaged over 40 calves per 100 cows. That's our measure. It's been declining, and especially here in this herd is the disappointment herd, which goes basically Mancus Hill up to over the Unit 7 towards Norwood, that country. We've been running in the 20s. This year, I think, is the lowest. I think it was 17
Wow.
is what we counted. The traditional thought is that you have to have at least 30 just to maintain a herd. So I mean, we're in a dire situation with our elk. Honestly, for the commission to approve limiting our elk herds, and it's just down here, so it's the Cortez, Durango, Pagosa, those three herders. That's a big step. And I mean, it's helpful that we've heard from a lot of sportsmen, we've been hearing from commissioners, and from you guys, from a lot of folks. And so I think that's what helped the commission feel comfortable moving forward with that, because again, that's a big step for us. You know, you think about it, parks and wildlife, at least the wildlife side, we don't get general tax money. Really, it's non-resident elk licenses fund a huge portion of the whole agency. By doing this, we know there's a fiscal impact, but it's the right thing to do. Because if we don't, then, you know, there's going to be no elk, right, potentially. So that, I'm really proud of that. That's something that internally we've been working on, trying to get that to go through probably for about 5 years. And so for us to finally kind of get it to the finish line, you know, we're really very happy with that.
Yeah, and Matt, you know that if you're down in the teens or any of that, they're not going to be around very long. I'm going to tell you, if a cattle herd, if a cow-calf operation was doing 40, he'd be out of business the first year, not several years on down the road. That breeding cycle needs to be up. To me, 40 seems like a very minimal of 100 cows to get 40 of them bred and have a calf. That seems minimal to me. And I'll tell you, I'm glad to see they're taking steps, but I'm not sure they're taking enough steps. I'm not sure they've taken a big enough bite of the apple yet.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that's still the other thing that's up on the table is, in my mind, this is a proactive step. We may still need to take additional restrictions, you know, different stuff. And we've also, as part of that, for this year, you know, we've been reducing our cow licenses are all drawn, you know, aside from the archery stuff in the past. So like the rifle and muzzle loaders where we can control that number of cow. You know, we've taken 75% cuts from what we had kind of at the peak in the 2006 type time frame. You know, we've reduced it that much when we took another 50% off of what was already a small number. We took even another 50%. So again, that's a significant loss of opportunity for hunters. I mean, some people really enjoy hunting cows, but you know, I think most of the sportsmen though are willing to take that in order to try to help these herds out. And I was also going to add, in conjunction with the season structure, we also revised our Elk Management Plans. You know, those are 10-year plans that guide where we want to go. I appreciate you guys commented on that. You know, that we did some public outreach. You know, usually we do a public meeting. There's like 10 guys in tan shirts. There's 3 folks from the public. You know, we had a meeting in Dolores, and luckily this was all kind of before this COVID stuff really started. You know, we had almost 100 people showed up in Dolores. We had a meeting in Norwood that had over 100. Yeah, we had significant interest from sportsmen, and they all, you know, we presented the option of where do we want to take our herd? Do we want to increase? How much? And I mean, overwhelmingly, sportsmen are like, yeah, we want to see like a 25% increase. So that's where the sportsmen have weighed in. You know, it goes to our Parks and Wildlife Commission. So we got, you know, public comments like the comments that you guys submitted. You know, we'll kind of refine that. So like federal agencies are going to give their opinion, landowners, all those things. So we'll kind of come up with a preferred alternative, and then that goes to our Parks and Wildlife Commission. So that's elk. So yeah, we're just hoping things, you know, we know this is a good first step, and again, this is going to be a long race for us to try to get our elk herd back where we want it. Other statewide stuff, we're in the midst of revising, again, it's a west slope, it's a mountain lion management plan. Our old plans, you know, they're about 15 years old. We try to do them about every 10 years, but you know, the good news is that the science has really advanced since that time. So we feel like this new plan really, it gives us, you know, using the best science, but it also gives us the ability to have some local management, some flexibility while still maintaining a stable population statewide. Again, I really appreciate that you guys weighed in on that. As you can imagine, on a statewide basis, you know, there's a variety of voices that are out there. I think it's critical that we have local people, local boards of county commissioners. You know, we need your voices as needed by the commission as they're making their decision. And actually, it's been great. So we got letters of support for that plan for you guys. From Dolores County, from La Plata County supported that plan, and Archuleta County. So essentially, all of our local counties, you know, were willing to go ahead and support us. So I hope that helps the commission feel good about approving that plan. One of the exciting things is something we've talked about several times over the last several years. As written, this plan would give us the ability to use electronic calls down here, specifically in this area. And as we talked about, it's hard to hunt this with hounds just because of all the small parcels. So we think that will help us to try to control this lion population. You know, we definitely want to try to push it down, and this will give us that flexibility and that latitude. So again, thank you guys for the comments.
Sorry about that, guys. Other just big picture, I know everybody's concerned about what COVID's doing, you know, implications, impacts, especially for communities like this, that hunting is such a big deal, big economic driver. Luckily, there haven't been any restrictions put on hunting or fishing. So like our turkey season is still going. There's been no restrictions. I guess, you know, we were a little bit kind of nervous seeing, you know, our application deadline for big game stuff was the first week of April. We weren't sure what that was going to look like. Actually, some good news. You know, last year we had 584,000 applications. This year, actually, there were 624,000 applications, so we actually came up by 40,000, give or take. So that'll be interesting to see, you know, what that equates to, because some of it are people who are just trying to get a preference point. So it's not necessarily that all those folks are going to come, but that's a good sign. You know, we're already fielding calls, though, from, you know, folks you think about, especially non-residents that, I mean, they save all their money all year so they can come out here and hunt for a week. So, you know, we'll see what the fall looks like, but at this point, we don't have any plans to change anything. You know, we're proceeding, you know, kind of like you were talking with the fair board. We got to go on with life. And, you know, the good thing is our activities they're sort of the original social distancing type activities. I mean, by their nature, most hunters certainly, but even fishermen are either with family, close friends, whatever, but they have that ability to be out in nature doing stuff. So, last thing, some disappointing news, and it's tied in, unfortunately, with COVID. I think last time I talked to you, we had put a proposal to try to get more access, boat access on our local lakes here in Montezuma County. So we had sent a proposal to try to get essentially like gate attendants that would be able to allow people who have pre-inspected boats to come through. Unfortunately, with the COVID stuff, and I mean, it's going to have an impact obviously on the state budget, but even on our parks and wildlife budgets. So we weren't able to get that money. So essentially this year things are the status quo. So things will still be moving forward as normal, like up at Groundhog, McPhee, but the other lakes are going to be closed. We are working with MVI. They're entertaining a proposal about trying to, working with Doc from the marina, about trying to get something going there at Narragansett. So that's a potential way to get some boating on that lake, but that's, you know, that's sort of independent of us. We're not really involved with that, so.
I believe that was approved, right?
Yeah, we did. Brevin was going to take a meet with Doc and do a little walkthrough of what he was looking at. But no, it seems that we was on board with it, with trying to get something going on out there.
So, anyways, so that's the quick and dirty.
All right, any additional questions for Matt?
I don't have any, Matt.
Thank you, Matt, though.
Thanks, Matt.
Very good
Appreciate
update.
it.
We really
Appreciate it, guys. And again, you know, if you guys have any questions in between meetings, feel free to call me or have James. So,
All right.
And thanks again, though, for your comment letters. Like I say, especially now, just as polarized as everything is, it's great to have that input from local people and the commissioners as representative of the people. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, next we'll go on the public lands. We'll go to, we've got a new famous recording artist, Derek Padilla, the head of the Forest Service. Mr. Padilla, the floor is yours.
there, Don. No, this is about how long my hair gets about this time of year, so. But at any rate, with regards to timber operations, just give you a little update on that. The Bradfield sale is out for bid right now. Should close here at the June 1st or 2nd. We'll then have another timber sale up in the Taylor Mesa area that will go out to bid here in the next few weeks as well. And then we have several, timber sales actively being worked on right now. If you've been up in the Hay Camp area, there's lots of evidence over there of log decks, along the 566 road there. And then they also got stuff going on over in the Glade area up near Carlisle Point and up there. So, so a lot of things going on related to timber. That the COVID stuff didn't really impact that too much. The agency right off the bat, classified timber operations as well as fuel mitigation work as mission critical, so that work was able to continue to move forward as far as preparation and implementation. So is there any questions on that?
No, I don't have any,
Nope.
Derek.
Glad to see
Okay.
you. I'm glad to see you moving forward with those timber sales, Derek. I think that's very positive for both our forests and for our economy here.
I agree. So then I'll just move on to fire restrictions. We are currently in fire restrictions, which was due to the COVID-19. Basically, a regional order was put in place back in early April, just to reduce, the possibility of having human caused starts, within the forest. Now that fire restriction order is going to expire actually tonight at midnight, but we will be implementing a San Juan National Forest specific fire restriction tonight, tomorrow morning, I guess you would say, to basically extend those same fire restrictions until the end of the month. And then at the end of the month, we'll evaluate, where we're at as far as conditions out on the ground, and then, implement, what is necessary based on that. Right now, based on the criteria, it's looking at in our lower elevations that stage 2 fire restrictions are warranted. That little bit of rain that we got last week actually did give us a little bit of relief, but unless we get more, that's not going to last very long with all this wind and heat that we've been experiencing. So we anticipate, that we're going to be in fire restrictions, until the monsoons hit, and hopefully they hit this year and aren't a dud like last year. Any questions on that?
We hope those monsoons do hit this year.
Yeah, exactly. As far as campground operations, the email that I sent you last week, we are, on track to open our developed sites on Friday, with the exception of House Creek. That one is still under construction, which I've talked to you about in the past. If you haven't gone out, you do have access to the boat ramp, or the shoreline, not the boat ramp itself, but to the shoreline, and you can see the work that's gone on out there. And there's a lot more shade structures and things like that, so it's going to be really nice for folks once that's opened back up. But for now, like I said, that'll remain closed until at least June 1st, maybe later. They're a little behind on putting some of the fire rings in and things of that sort. So as soon as they're done with that, and that will open back up. But the rest of our campgrounds across the forest, with the exception of Target Tree, will open on May 22nd, this Friday. The one thing that they're working on the water systems, so some of the sites, if they can't get the water systems up and running, could potentially be dry sites, but Other than that, we should be, open and ready for folks on Friday. Also, CPW was able to obtain a couple of more ANS inspectors, and therefore that'll allow for opening up of the House Creek boat ramp on Friday as well, to allow for use of that boat ramp over there on that side. So hopefully that'll alleviate some of the pressure that McPhee has been receiving on weekends. It's been pretty busy over there, but not exceedingly so. But this last weekend they said, that there was probably 90 cars in the parking lot up there, and that's kind of pushing it as far as social distancing and things like that. Similar to what Shaq was talking about out at Phil's World. We're not enforcing any kind of social distancing laws or anything of that sort. That's the state and the county. That's in their realm and not ours. But we still want to ensure that folks are keeping that in mind and taking into consideration the state and local social distancing laws. But like I said, there at McPhee, as far as how close cars were parked and things of that sort, I think people are still able to maintain social distancing, and especially at the boat ramp, they said people have been doing really well there in keeping their distance and ensuring that once a boat is loaded and moves out, then the next one's ready to go and not crowding each other. So that's a good thing there.
Well, that's good news.
Go ahead.
Well, that's good news about the boat ramp being opened up. Did James Dietrich get with you about a concern about signage for the fire, for your fire restrictions? A sign made?
Yes.
Can you address that?
Yes, he did. And we have people out actually this week, starting yesterday, putting more signage in. We did have signage at all the, main entry points, along the Dolores Norwood Road, along County Road W, all our hot spots, if you will, for high recreation use. And then, but, people still claim that they didn't see it, but, we get that excuse, every year from the folks that don't have, or claim to have not seen, any kind of signage. But we are beefing that up. We're actually going as far as we had in 2018. We purchased a bunch of pin flags, that say no campfires, and we're placing those in every visible fire ring that we're finding out on the national forest. And in addition to that, we have patrols out. I was out, personally last Saturday talking with people. I was out in that Boggy Draw area, and I spoke with, just about everybody there. And then our law enforcement folks came that evening and issued, 6 citations. So, there was really no excuse, because the signage was up. Plus, they had personnel talking directly with them, telling them that there's no, fires allowed. And yet, we still had 6 people who, went ahead and built fires, that evening anyways. So, just like with anything, you're always going to have that issue where, most of the people are going to comply, but you're always going to have a few that don't. But we are beefing up that signage. We also worked with Sheriff Nowlin, and he's going to put up an electronic sign there by his house. We've contacted CDOT, to see if there's opportunity to add fire restriction language to their electric signs on the major highways there. So, we definitely heard that and are trying to address it.
All right. Thank you, Derek. Is that the continuation of your report, or you have more?
And then that's the last thing as far as our office goes. At least for the time being, we're going to continue to be in a virtual service mode. People can call the office, and we can direct them in how they can, get what they need, whatever that might be. Right now, as far as Fuelwood Sales goes, we are providing free Fuelwood permits until the end of the month. And then here in the next week, we'll assess, whether we're going to continue that or if we are going to, provide an opportunity for the public to be able to purchase firewood permits. But at this point in time, like I said, our office is still operating from a virtual standpoint. And that's the end of my report.
Anything else, Commissioners?
I have none. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Mr. Padilla. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have Connie Clemson. Is she Connie, or she's the director of the BLM, Tresrio's office? Connie, are you there?
Connie, can you unmute yourself?
It's showing right now that you're muted, Connie. If you can hear us, we can't hear you.
Gentlemen, Connie left you a chat message.
She what?
She left a message on chat.
Chat message. More chat message.
Well, we can't see that. Oh.
she's
Oh,
gone.
okay.
She's got to go to another meeting.
Okay, all right. Thank you. We appreciate that, Ms. Purcell. I guess that would conclude our public lands then. So we go to public safety, and I see the sheriff's here. I don't see the I don't see the coroner, so I guess we'll start with the sheriff, and maybe he has an updated word.
The coroner was in here, and then his pager went off, so.
Oh, a fire, or?
I don't know.
I hope a fire, not a death. but-
It's one of the two. Take a guess. I don't know. Flip a coin. Whatever it is. Well, we're going to try this from what IT set up, so I don't
Okay,
have to
I'm
run
gonna try and
courses.
Oh,
switch
really?
them.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm not guaranteeing anything.
Wireless.
Okay?
IT or magic with all
I
kinds
bet
I
that,
don't
I bet
know.
that disappoints Commissioner Candelaria.
Yeah, so you can keep playing your video
I
game.
can keep going
Cool.
on my game right here. Because I'm at level 10.
Level 10. I just can't get it going before because I'd take over the screen. And I don't want to do that. So you'd be going, what the heck are you doing? Yeah, I'd take it over.
Connecting to Steve now, and here we go.
Here we go. Get ready. I don't know. I can't, holy smokes, look at that.
Look at
It's
that.
magic,
Look at that,
okay?
man. You look at all those.
Didn't even sell tickets, by
and-
God. What do you know? Okay. Takes a little bit for it to wind its through.
Warm up, load up.
Yeah,
How are things at the jail? Okay?
better.
Better? Good.
Yep, better.
Good.
We're still COVID-free. Of course, I put in a lot of tight protocols and procedures that have reduced.
Obviously paying off.
Yeah, it is. Doesn't make some happy, but
You
I
ain't
don't
there
care.
making it happen. That's
No, I'm responsible to you and the community for this, so
There you are.
I'm doing the best I can with it. Right now, we have a total of 52 inmates. I've been able to reduce it to that.
Wow.
Let's keep it that way.
No kidding. I was going to say that COVID has knocked your numbers down.
52.
Well,
We're
I
at
have,
about 50%, right?
well, and I know that, yeah, I had to deal a lot with ACLU and the Public Defender's Office and what in the beginning to show that there's no threat in there from what we've done. I tell you what, we've got a tremendous group of detention deputies that have really stepped up, and that's really what's helped make sure everything is followed the way that it should. We still have two Dolores County Sheriff's Office or Dolores County inmates, and 9 DOC. We got 2 out, but we're still waiting for Department of Corrections to take these inmates that are destined for Department of Correction prisons in the state. And right now they're still trying to open up some of their facilities, and everybody across the state's pretty much on hold. It's kind of like a lottery almost, it seems like. Yeah. So they're serving their state sentences right now at our jail until they get processed and transported out. But for the, and we'll get to the jail stuff here in just a second, I wanted to let you know that
things haven't slowed down for the sheriff's office. It's normal operations. We've got, for just last month, 1,749 calls for service. An increase in disturbances, domestic violences, but the biggest is we have increased our business checks and security checks throughout the county. As you can see, 327 security checks were done. This was also bringing on rescheduling 2 of our deputies to work a graveyard shifts as much as we can, so we have a 24-hour coverage over this period of time. It's a little hard to maintain that when we do lose one from sick. We had a sergeant call in sick today, so hopefully he'll be back on the schedule next week, and that'll help. I've got 3 new hires, recruits will coming on the June the 1st from the Law Enforcement Academy. Also, we have one that we picked up in December who will complete his FTO training on the 27th of this month. So that'll help tremendously. So water calls have increased as usual. It's an annual thing. It's a celebration, but I think we're getting a handle on a lot of the past problems, and even down in McCalmo, I've got to hand it to those folks down there, those water holders down there. They've really stepped up and started working together, and with NRCS money and with the State Division of Water, it's helping tremendously. So they actually come up with the historic amounts of shares that they should all be getting, which hasn't been done in 30, 40 years. And I'll tell you what, some of them have big grins right now, so it's helping.
Is that part of that, and then getting control in Taunton? Didn't MVI take over Taunton and doing some McElmo water in Taunton Lake?
No, it actually, from their historic numbers, they were never getting what they actually should have. That's the thing. And the big thing is that we've gone on for 5 years now in educating not only locals that don't know any better, but the new folks that move in about the water laws here in Colorado. And those that would skirt, plenty of warnings were given over this period of time. I'm done. Okay, we're done. It's time that if you take more than what you're entitled to, you go see the judge, because that's just the way that it has to be. Enough is enough, and they know. These people know when they're doing something wrong. We all know this. So it's a work in progress, and that's what it's all about, is working together to understand that you're entitled to your personal property, but no more than what you're entitled to. And it's your neighbors. That's the big thing. It's your neighbors that you're taking from, and that's wrong. So if you guys work out an agreement, that's up to you, and we would never know about it, and it's okay. That's the way it should be. If you have excess water that doesn't go anywhere other than what you intended, and you need it off a field, that's between you and your neighbors. It has nothing to do with us. So that has really helped a bunch. So I'm hoping that it'll continue, and it's all across the county. Biggest problems were down south and over in the Mancos area, but those are being resolved, and that's what I really appreciate about NRCS and bringing more money into the county to help these agricultural projects. We needed it for a long time, and because the programs are working, they're benefiting. Everybody's benefiting from it. So as far as the jail is concerned, just giving you some numbers of what our transports are down, as you would expect. We're not honoring extraditions unless it happens to be a serious crime against a person. This is in conjunction with the district attorney, and understanding that when this when this pandemic or whatever happens to subside and these other facilities are and communities feel that they can pick up and transport these people that we need here, that we have warrants for, then we'll do it. But it's pretty picky. It's always going to be who is going to be someone that we need here in this community that has committed a serious crime against a person. So that's kind of where we're at. These are just the transport costs. Not bad. It's because of this, it's kind of helped throughout the year. I think at the end of the year, I hope, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, that it doesn't skyrocket like it did last year. The thing is, though, is that with the jail, we know that the courts will start to open up, and I've met with the judges last week, and they understand, and they're going to do everything they can to move things in a gradual way so that we don't get inundated into the jail with arrests. Okay, that's the thing. I don't want to just open it up because we just have to be cautious. Like I said, that's the reason why there isn't any virus in our jail, is that these folks that are picked up on these protection order violations and whatnot of consuming alcohol, it's like, why? Okay, we can write them a summons, and that's what we ask. I do know that some of them are continuing to get into trouble, and so you do have to deal with those folks. And so there are exceptions, but they're in. They're advised usually within 24 hours. They're sober, and then they're back out on a PR bond. So it's in and out. That is the thing that bothers me, and that's why we have cells specifically for those types of daily in and out type of situations for inmates or arrestees. So it helps so that they're in isolation. It can be deconned as soon as they're gone, and we're back in. Wow, we got money. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Get some of that money for me.
In
too.
April, this was our
Me some.
total days of inmates, and as you can see, when you see next month in May, or this month, next month, you're going to see that it's really dropped. Just even at the last of April. Now 68, remember there are six inmates that we still have to count that are actually in other facilities, such as the mental hospital and other places. So that were ordered to those facilities before this started. And so that's where our total numbers are at. Not a lot. So thank goodness. We did have an issue in the beginning, back in March, with the food suppliers. The kitchen manager had expressed that he was just having difficulties trying to get orders filled. And I did reach out to the food provider that we have, two of them, and kind of explained our situation, that I'm responsible for these people. We have to have the food supplies when we need them in a regular type of way. And if you can't fill an order for something, maybe an alternative would work, and work that out with the food manager. These folks can't go anywhere. They can't leave to go to the grocery store or whatever, or get to the food banks. It doesn't mean that they're any more important than anybody else in this community, but we have a responsibility. And they understood that, and they really stepped up, and they started to help us out with that. So that problem is gone. They were having some issues trying to fill a lot of the requests for a lot of their businesses because there was a shortage. There was people were trying to hoard, and that's what caused it. So, but anyway, as you can see, we have daily arrests, no more than 3 Most of them have been one or two. And now, just this month, a lot of them we don't have any arrests or intakes. So it's not bad. It's helping reduce our numbers down there. This is the billing for Dolores County inmates. We have, these are the folks that were in there in the month of April. We only have 2 now, so this is what Dolores County was billed, $6,300 for $75 a day. And here is the Department of Corrections. As you can see, we're going to keep some of these. We only lost 2 of them. And we're going to have them until they actually start to cycle them back into the state prisons, wherever they go. But that's what they've been billed for, $10,248 for the month of April.
Sheriff, can I ask you a question? On the, you was talking about the alcohol related, and you're just giving them a summons. How many of the people actually live somewhere, but they're are being counted as homeless?
That's true.
know?
Well, that's what homeless is, basically. There are a handful of folks that don't have a place to go. There are some that live other places that choose to be homeless. We all know that. And so that's what is really our homeless population dynamics here. They choose to stay and be homeless and take advantage of being able to go to the soup kitchens and things like that and sleep wherever. Wintertime, it's tough because they have no place to go other than the bridge shelter, and so.
But you stated that some people do have a home or a place to go.
Sure.
So
it's just by choice. It's just by choice.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
But I mean, if I'm in another locale by my own device, I don't think I would be considered homeless. I still have a home.
You do. It's just not around here. So there you go. What do you do? And you know what the thing is that in the county we don't have homeless populations. Basically, we don't. Most of them seem to be here in the Cortez municipality area and the incorporated areas of Cortez. We do have, it's kind of disrupted the migration route with this pandemic, where a lot of them will come south in the fall, early winter, from the Telluride area and stay. Some will continue to go south, but a lot of them stay in the Cortez area. And then they go back in the spring, and they'll pass through Dolores and whatnot to head back north. That's been what I have observed and what we've seen over the past 2-3 years, and it's steadily increased. But it's with this pandemic, it's a problem. I'll just tell you straight, it is. And I have a problem with a bond condition that's on a person that had a protection order that prohibits them from consuming alcohol when they're an alcoholic. How does that work? It doesn't, okay? You're turning them loose, they're going to do it again, and they're back. And it's a hot topic. With this pandemic, it's a problem because they socialize with the groups that have a greater chance of contracting a virus, and some have. And so it spreads amongst that. And it's sad that we can't take care of those people the way that they should be taken care of, but it is what it is. I just don't want, that's why I've had the protocols in the jail the way that they are, that we have to protect the inmates that are in there plus the jail staff. Those are the number one priorities. So we have to isolate these folks because we know they're going to be there for just a day or two and then they're gone. Maybe we'll see them again, maybe we won't. But they'll be ending up going to court down the road, but I don't know when that will be. So it puts us in jeopardy, it does. But we control it pretty well. Back in April, we had some Southern Ute tribal members that were in the detention center in Ignacio. When their staff, they didn't have the staff to actually take care of their facility there because they had contracted or had been exposed to the virus, and so they were out. And so the Southern Ute tribe had reached out to actually get some assistance to take these inmates that they couldn't be released. They're serving sentences. Every one of them were examined. Every one of them were virus-free, and they were virus-free when they went back. So during the 209 days total out of these inmates, the tribe is actually going to, and they've been billed, and I think we may have already received $15,675 for their stay. And the thing is, though, is that if we have a problem, I expect to go to them for reciprocal help. Okay, that was the deal. So I think it's a good working relationship to have. And that's what I've always done, and that's what I'm about, is working with others as best we can. But it was needed. They needed help. And then nobody else would step up to help them. And it's like, that's not right. So there you go. So this is the billing for the month of April. Now the municipal courts ended in the first part of April. So there was only 96, there was 32 inmates that were held from the city of Cortez, 96 days, $75 a day, $7,200 were billed. Of course, the state charges, those have been, that number is actually reduced in May because we haven't been taking them in. So, but those are the ones that were on state charges that have been held. That's the 52 that we have today fall in that category. DOC prisoners, as you can see, just from the month of April, 133 days. Dolores County, 35 days, and Southern Ute, 209 days out of their 12 inmates that we have. With the fees that the Sheriff's Office has collected going into the general fund, this is what's in the Sheriff's report to show you and the public that it's been business as usual for us. Any reimbursements and whatnot go back in to the general fund, as well as the fees that we've been collecting. A total of $27,427.79 just in the month of April. So it's down a little bit because of certain things because of this. So, but we're still moving forward. Any questions?
How did the conversation of the gaming grant go? I know.
With
that
what?
The gaming grant, was that last week?
A couple weeks ago.
What's that?
The gaming grant that they were trying to take away?
Oh, they made no action at all. It was the DOLA grant for gaming. They took no action. The same thing is true with, they want to, it's too early for them to actually start whacking grants. It really is, because you know what? That money is already there, and it is, it's just way too early for them to start doing that. And I heard that loud and clear from a couple of legislators that they don't want to do anything right now. And that was true even with the peace officers' mental health grant. They didn't know if they wanted to continue to fund that. And they're getting a lot of input from a lot of us on the Sheriff's Office side in the state that it's very beneficial, it's cost effective, it isn't that much money, and so they're not going to be cutting anything like that right now. So, but who knows?
So, I agree with you, Sheriff, and I'll use the outdoor swimming pool as an example. That budget's already in place. I can understand the swimming pool being closed next year.
Yeah.
But this year, it's hard to understand why.
So I know that with the casinos being closed, I think that's one of the big things that they're concerned with, and I certainly understand that. But I don't know what kind of a hit that will be. I really don't. It's going to be the same thing with, with me with the Ute Mountain Casino. I don't know. Right now, it's not affected, and we're going to do just fine. So it's not that big of a thing right now. But I never know.
So right now, no actions were taken.
No
at
action
all.
was taken at all.
So the meetings were held, but no.
Right.
No.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, there was
All
quite
right.
a few that they went through that day. And the gaming grant was like fifth one down on the list. But at the end result was that they didn't take any action at all. So they'll just wait to see. Okay?
Any questions, Commissioners? for the
Anything
sheriff?
else?
Oh, that was the only one I had. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. The message board is already up on 31.
Wow.
Just so you know.
That's-
But I asked them about Road 42 up on the West Mancus, and right now they didn't think that they wanted to put any messaging or use our message board up there, and it's fine. So, but it's available. Okay? Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff.
We have I believe we have, do we have Will first on? For the,
He was on, I just texted him, oh, there he is, he's back.
hello, District Attorney.
Morning, Will.
Morning.
Good. How's everyone doing?
We're doing good.
Well, thank you.
Good. I just wanted to begin just by briefly kind of reiterating what I had mentioned at the last appearance I made with regard to our business being relatively as normal. We have a rotating schedule wherein everybody is working remotely, but and appearing in court remotely. But we have about half of our staff at any given time in the office on rotating schedules, being mindful of social distancing requirements and other recommendations and mandates of the state. We have not had any health issues at our office, and we feel like our current setup is working pretty well. We've been working closely with the sheriff, with Cortez Police, other law enforcement agencies, and the courts to kind of streamline as best we can the arrest and hopeful release of defendants, but those who are remaining in custody are getting quick hearings and are generally finding themselves released faster than they would outside of the health situation. So in a lot of ways, I'm seeing some improvements in our kind of approach toward pretrial incarceration and bonding conditions. The chief judge did issue a bond schedule that was, in my opinion, a bit overdue, but this situation prompted a response from the chief, and I appreciated that, and we now have a lot of cases being processed without the need for pretrial incarceration, which is certainly a savings to the community, and as a advocate of pretrial release where appropriate, it's something I'm a fan of. We continue to get orders from the Supreme Court as they apply to jury trials. We have now a second order from the Supreme Court that has pushed back any jury trials into July. Jurors are not allowed to be summoned for trials, and they are not allowed to be demanded to appear by the courts, and that's through July 6th, I believe. And so we are going to experience a backlog of trials and cases that are not being heard regularly, probably in the early fall, and we're starting to see that with our pro se docket or individuals who have been summoned into court but don't have a lawyer. We're seeing a really large caseload coming this week and next, and we're trying to navigate that with the court through a combination of personal appearances and virtual ones. So that's kind of the bottleneck that'll surely affect our dockets moving forward closer to the fall, most likely, but that is a concern of ours. By and large, we have been able to effectuate business remotely, and that's something that has been easy to adapt to with our digital system that we implemented some years ago, the assistance of Jim and his folks at the IT department, and a few outstanding extraordinary purchases for computers we had to make. But outside of that, things are good. We share some concerns with the sheriff as it applies to protection order violations. What happens a lot with what happens in every criminal case is a protection order is issued. That's mandatory. And a lot of those protection orders will include a no alcohol provision. Now, some of those are just kind of boilerplate language, and other times they are associated with the conduct of the defendant initially. For example, he or she is involved in a domestic violence dispute where alcohol or drugs were present, and the thought is if we can control the drugs or alcohol, then perhaps that behavior thereafter would be modified. And so a great number of defendants are released on bonds with those protection orders in place. And as the sheriff has noticed, and Cortez Police Department has noticed, many of those individuals are in public consuming alcohol or at least visibly under the influence of alcohol and then are arrested pursuant to the mandatory arrest provision of a protection order violation. It's not a local policy. It's not a something that I've mandated. It's what the legislature has determined to be an appropriate course of action, and that is the arrest of that offender. Our bond schedule currently does not include an immediate release for those protection order violations, and that's something I've asked the chief judge to reconsider in his bond schedule so as to permit discretionary release after the arrest, so that the sheriff's jail is not populated by these catch and release cases that do happen with some frequency. So we are trying to get a handle on that and assist the jail in curbing that population. Those are things that are happening, kind of as I speak and are on the chief judge's desk or in his email inbox, so we'll see how those are responded to. But outside of that, I think everyone is doing what they can to react to the situation and provide the highest degree of safety for our officers on the street, but at the same time, put those who require pretrial incarceration and require arrest, before the judge as quickly as possible as well. So things are going well, and I welcome any questions this Spotty might have for me.
I'm good, thank you.
I don't have.
Glad to
any
hear it's
commission.
going that well. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, very good to hear that it's going that well, and specifically with only 50% of the staff being at the office.
Yeah, the remote technologies that we're all familiar with are pretty remarkable. We have access to all of our files from home, and so we're able to accomplish most work at home. But again, we do want to return to normal as soon as we can, and unfortunately our public availability is a bit limited, but we are taking great efforts to be available virtually on the phone and email, and our victim advocates are doing a heck of a job meeting with anyone who is affected by local crime and making sure they're aware of the process and getting their feedback on how to proceed.
All right. Thank you, Will.
Okay.
We appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Stay healthy.
All right,
Bye.
next on the agenda, we have talk about the walkthrough of the discuss the fairgrounds remodel or bid. Any discussion, gentlemen? So we had one bid, Shaq, maybe, or Mike, why don't you come up here? You know a little bit about this, and let's have a discussion before we open this bid.
I actually think we have two to discuss here too, because you sent us an email also in regards to the sprinkler system out there. Was that this week or was that last week?
Fire suppression?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the suppression system? So we actually have
Well,
a couple of things.
and will you turn that mic on? He sent a quote on that, and I replied back and asked if we had received more quotes.
Well, and I had also replied on it too.
Right, I saw your reply.
That there are a couple others, but first of
So-
all, I'll let you go ahead with that before we move on to this.
Okay, so can you give us an update on, bid for the fairgrounds remodel. And I see that we have Justin on there as well.
I went through all the plans with, what's her name?
Janine?
Yeah, Janine yesterday here in the office here. And looks like we got everything pretty well situated, ready to go. The sewer line or the septic line got to be replaced. They're still waiting on some equipment to order. The tables and stuff haven't been ordered yet. But I think the fridge, the stove and all that stuff's been there for a while and they've had it stored. So all
it's
that
ready
equipment
for-
is there.
So where is all of those appliances, Justin? Or do you know where they're at, Mike?
Yes, they're sitting out here at the fairground. We got all the, we got the stove, the refrigerators, and all the appliances. We do not have any of the counters.
Countertop.
Are they being stored in the kitchen now, or you have them off-site, or where do you have? where do
No,
you
we have them stored here in a Connex box.
Oh, okay.
Connex.
So we got one bid, is that correct?
Yeah,
Jack?
just,
Only one bid came in.
just the one bid, yeah.
And actually, that's been happening quite often lately. Do you have any idea why there's only one bid? Somebody wanted to do a remodel job?
Me?
Yeah.
I think it's just that in our industry right now, everybody's challenged too, because a lot of subcontractors and different things, you know, you're having to kind of stack things up to kind of keep the space and keep it where one employee or one sub's in a building at a time and stuff. And so I think that people already had work lined up, and that's kind of thrown everybody a little bit farther behind and stuff. And so I would say that that's probably part of it and stuff. Commissioner?
Yeah, the other contractor that was gonna bid on it, he's too busy. He just got too much going on. He's the one doing the senior center right now, and he said he couldn't do that bid. He's just too busy right now.
Kaminsky.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how to proceed. I would like to look at it, but, you know, we've got all that equipment sitting in a in a storage container, and I know how hot those storage containers get in the summer. I don't know what kind of damage they would do to the appliances. Do you have any idea?
I don't think it'll affect
I
them.
don't think that it would affect them because the appliances are not energized right now. But even if we don't move forward with this, there's no reason we can't move the appliances
Into the kitchen
and
itself.
put them in,
Yeah.
because if they're there and they're usable for the duration, or if we do get opened up, there's no reason we can't utilize those at all.
Yeah.
They're just appliances. Right now, it's just a piece of iron sitting there. So even if we don't move ahead with this proposal, we've purchased those already,
Right,
correct?
right.
So we could actually put them in place and utilize them.
I mean, we'd have to move them when they do the floor work and stuff like that, but it just, you know, move them
Correct,
down.
but they're all on wheels.
Right, yeah, so I don't see a problem with it, yeah. And some of the stove would probably, used to be probably pretty heavy. And we'd have to install a new hood before we use that stove. That hood's not gonna work. Gonna have to put a new hood for the stove.
Which was part of that as far as what we
Right.
were supposed to
Right, right,
our portion of ordering that kind of stuff, right?
right. Mhm.
So should we open the bid and see if we accept it or reject it?
We've got a bid, I think it should be open. Yeah.
I actually have two thoughts on that. With only receiving one bid, we don't really have competitive bids. So if we're not going to accept it, I would just assume not open that bid to expose those numbers, because I don't think that's fair to that person.
Can't make them public, I mean, we
Correct,
can't
because
make
then
them
that exposes that
Well, then why don't we?
firm.
Is there a reason you can't open it and not read the number?
Yeah.
Unless you accept the bid, then you have to read the number.
Well, why can't we open the bid and I look at it, the commissioner tell Commissioner Candelaria, and then we make a decision? I guess I would say that it is a competitive bid because everybody had the opportunity to bid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then,
Everybody has
but
the
only,
opportunity
so
to bid.
everybody had the opportunity, but only one bid. That sounds like competition to me. The competition
The field
shows not,
come to the field, and there was only one came out of the field to bid it, so.
Yeah.
I was surprised with one bid, I really was. I thought we'd get more bids on that.
so are we in agreement to open the bid? Yeah.
I think we should.
I don't think we should open it.
Okay, 2-1, we open the bid.
We have the architect's estimate on that, do we not?
I don't,
Did she give us an estimate? Did you ever see an estimate from her, from Ms. Denny?
no. I've never seen an estimate.
She sent me a couple of emails while I was here. I don't know if I can pull them up or not.
You're talking like an engineer's estimate of the project. No, I've never seen one.
I haven't either. I just wondered if there was one out there, if we had any kind of an estimate.
Yeah, I got it's a revised bid she sent me today. And there's just a couple of things that was missed and that we had added.
If I'm reading the bid right, I feel like it's very reasonable, but Shaq, do you remember how much it cost for the senior center?
I don't. The
The
only thing
seniors-
I've got on my brain right now is COVID-19.
Do you remember what the bid was that Kaminsky?
I think it was 56. I think it was 56 for the senior center.
That sounds right.
I couldn't tell you without looking at it.
I mean, I could look it up. I could probably try to find it, but I think it was right on 56. Because we had a couple bids on that, then we had to rebid it, and then he was the only one that bid that the last time. He's the only one that bid that job the last time.
And do you feel like that was it? Do you feel like those the two jobs are about the same in scope?
No, I think Fairgrounds is bigger.
Bigger, I do too.
A lot bigger, lot more plumbing.
I think you have a lot less in the kitchen, but you have a lot more in the bathrooms.
Yeah, the
I think
bathroom's
you
the
have
biggest thing.
A lot more in the kitchen is pretty much our ordering of all of our components that go in there, other than just the hood and some countertops and some wainscoting. But the bathroom is the bulk of the
That's a big nut.
at the fairground.
Right.
I guess, like I'm not sure why we need to spend this money right now. I think we can move the components that we've already purchased in there, which will definitely get us through this. If this season opens up to where that can be utilized, then I think it'll be a great benefit. But still, here again, just because we have stuff budgeted doesn't mean we have to spend every penny of that. And I don't think with anything going on out there, other than moving up the appliances, at this present time, I mean, I think we should start looking at holding on to some budgeted numbers. And like you said last time you were in here, that you felt that the roof was more critical at the
Jail.
Correct. Than this, and I think that's something we should look at too.
I guess my comment on that would be again that the budget has, the money is there, the budget, and we've knocked down the road projects by $5 million, and it goes back to again, what do the taxpayer give their money to us for? Services. If we are not going to provide any services, why is there a government? They have no need for us. If we're not going to do anything but pay our employees and not do any services, then we shouldn't be in existence.
I think we are doing the services, because that number that you see right there is not everything that we have purchased and already put forth. So what is that number? What have we spent? So I think we are providing the services, but we don't have to spend every penny of every budget.
Exactly.
That's
so,
the point.
And I'll go back to this. What did we budget for this? I know what the number is.
I'd have to go.
It was $200,000. That's what we budgeted for the fairgrounds model. I'm not for sure what we paid for the refrigerator and all that, but if you was to add that to this number,
to get a total, you're correct.
It's not even close. I mean,
And I guess I'm a bit torn in this one, because I understand Commissioner Pantalaria's, we don't know what all is going to be going on out at the fairgrounds this summer, but the remodel needs to be done. We've got our kitchen, we've already committed to the appliances, we've got those purchased, that kitchen needs to be, And our bathrooms are horrid out there. I mean,
Correct.
they're horrid.
And the sewer line.
Right.
I mean.
So with the way, I like the way the fair board's saying, hey, we're planning on putting on a full county fair. And if the other things fall into place, if the lawn and garden show, if the ag expo, if the rodeo and all that, if those happen to come to fruition, which I think all those entities, the
Which we
12 Hours
hope
and
they
Mason
do.
Bird,
We
hope they
definitely
do,
hope
and
they do.
hope they do. We're just moving it from this block of time to this block of time, and it's really gonna be condensed. I think we might regret not having done this if we do all of those things, and we're eventually gonna do them all anyway. This is 1 year where they're gonna be postponed or put at a different time, but every time those bathrooms out there are they're an embarrassment for public bathrooms. That needs to be done, and whether we're having a busy year or not a busy year, and so I think we've come this far. We've got the appliances purchased, most all the appliances, we've already committed to that, and those bathrooms.
And we spent $6,000 for the architect. I mean,
That's true.
I mean.
Yeah, so
It's.
I'm of the mindset, we budgeted that money, when we did our budget, we budgeted that money to get this done in this calendar year, and I think I'm just gonna have to stick with that. I think I'm just gonna have to stick with that decision, that we go ahead, the facility needs it, whether we're busy this year or not busy this year. We're saving enough money on salaries out there to pay for part of it, Jim. I look at it that way. We're saving money on salaries out there, so that's gonna help defray the cost of it as well. But it needs to be done. It's obviously gonna be done at some point in the future, and maybe, depending on what the revenues are in the future, I mean, I think do it while you've got the money and while you budget it and you plan to do it, and get that facility fixed up.
And I'm of the same mind, so I want to read the number. We had budgeted to redo this model $200,000. The bid that come in to do the remodel is $59,971. That is 25% of what we, or not 25%. That is
don't confuse everything that we purchase also has to come within that budgeted amount, which
right.
Just
so I'll
the range is probably I'm guessing 5 to 10 grand. So there's a huge number along with that we as the county have purchased.
Yeah. No.
Well, I guarantee you the number's not over 50,000.
Yeah.
I'll guarantee it. So even if it was 50,000, we budgeted $200,000, and we're going to get the remodel done for $106,000, because we have to add $6,000 for the.
I don't know what we've spent on the appliances.
Yeah. So
I don't either.
Justin, do you know what we spent on the appliances?
Justin, do you know what we spent on the appliances?
I want to say it was about 20,000 if I remember correctly.
Okay, so that takes this to $80,000. Again, we budgeted $200,000. We're going to do it for $86,000. A very wise business decision. I move that we approve the bid for, let's see what the company's name is. Cortez Home and Office LLC, in the amount of $56,971.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the bid for the remodel of the fairgrounds for $56,971 for the remodel of the fairgrounds in the favor of Cortez Home and Office LLC. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-1. Shaq, could you get with them or Mike and see if we can move forward?
Okay.
You also have to approve the colors and the LVP and I guess that's it, Mike?
Yeah, just the colors, yeah. Justin, do you want to approve the colors for that bathroom and stuff? Oh, I can get with you tomorrow. We can look at it.
Yeah, that's fine. We can look at it later.
Okay. I'll get with him. We'll take a look at the colors and stuff. And
because it doesn't matter to me at all.
No,
But
I
if
think
you guys
pick a color that looks.
give that up to them.
that's gonna show dirt the least and easiest to clean, and, you know, what
Right.
I think using.
It's gonna be polished concrete floor anyway, so that'll, you know,
Yeah, so,
okay. I can do that with Justin tomorrow.
okay.
Anything else, Commissioners?
The
Mike?
suppression system.
Oh,
That was the next one out there.
okay.
The
So
fire
my-
suppression system.
My question was, can they provide fire flow?
I called them. They haven't returned their call yet. She said she was going to call me today. But I'm assuming the fire suppression was installed, so I'm assuming they had water pressure out there to install it in the first place.
It's
Right.
not pressure, it's volume.
Well, yeah,
So
but that's
can-
what I'm
can
saying.
they
That's what
provide
I'm
it?
saying. They put it out there. They installed it years ago, so I'm assuming they had the volume then for it. I mean, what has changed? But I do have a call into them.
I guess that's my, I just want to, doing the calculation, what is the size of that building?
Oh, I have no idea.
So
I have no idea.
if, why are we going to repair that portion? I mean, or is there a portion that we don't have to repair if we can't have the fire flow for 100% involvement? Is that why it was taken out of service and has been out of service for, what'd you say last night?
No, it was froze.
Right.
There was a
it had
spot where it froze,
Yeah.
and so I don't,
Correct.
why
So
wouldn't we
are
just
we gonna
repair that?
Fix the whole thing?
But why would we waste our money fixing the whole thing if only a little piece is broke? Because it's never had water in it, right?
Right, that's what they're doing. That's what the
Had to
bids
have
were.
water in it if it froze.
Huh?
Had to have
But
water
at
in it if
the,
it
so they
froze.
probably, they charged it, and then they didn't,
Right.
right? I mean, I haven't looked. Is there water in the pipes now?
There's
No.
no.
Justin went in there, he removed the head a while back, and he said water poured out of it, so the system was activated at one time. And that's probably when it froze, and they took a big set, what, a 4-foot section, Justin, out of it?
What was that? I didn't quite hear you.
What
Was it a
size
fo-
section did they take out of the fire suppression system?
It's about 4 foot,
Yeah, about 4 foot.
and they just capped one side off and kept the other side active. And the side they capped off was for the arena, so they wouldn't have any water over the arena, but the rest of the building was still, had water, but the system's been turned off for God knows how long. The valve was actually turned off on the system.
Correct.
You know, so.
Well, Justin, what are your thoughts? Can't we just get a plumber out there, or maybe you have to have a fire?
It's not a plumber, it's a fire suppression system.
Yeah, it has
Why
to be
can't
fire
we,
suppression.
so why can't we get
License.
whoever it is that works on those to fix the 4-foot section and then fire it up and see what kind of problems we got?
That's the bid we
I
got.
think that's a bid we have.
Yeah, that's the bid we have for that.
$20,000.
To repair that section, and we had to decide whether we're going with the dry system, which includes the air compressor, and there's no water over the arena, or we go with the wet system, you know, and they got
But the
two
wet
heaters.
system is not gonna work out there at all, because that's what we're gonna end up with, is more freezing because of the arena. It's too big of an area. That's never
I
heated
just-
anyway,
yeah,
is it?
And I guess that would raise the question of me, over our indoor arena part of it, is it mandated by fire law or whatever that arena has to be covered with a sprinkler system? Or can we get by with the kitchen, the office rooms, the office spaces and that stuff? Does that arena
I guess
have-
that was where my question was going. Why do we need to do 100% of that?
Yeah, that,
When there's nothing out there that's combustible?
exactly, that's kind
That's
of my
dirt
thought too.
and
maybe we
what
could-
else is there? There's nothing there other
Dirt
than
and
the
steel and steel pipes
structure,
and a
but
steel roof, yeah.
the other portion to the east is what's really our fire flow.
your back-
So my
your kitchen.
question is, can they provide fire flow? Before we fix anything, if they can't provide fire flow, then we're wasting our money.
And if we can just provide it to that section of the building.
Correct.
if we
Can it be-
If we can cordon that off and say, okay, here's where we have to have the water protection for fire, not that whole arena area and that whole.
Unless they're using that as the events that we have out there, that we have to provide fire flow while we have that area
Occupied.
rolled off and occupied. So those are the
Well,
questions.
how do we find out? Who do we ask?
We'll call a fire marshal or.
I don't
So,
know
so these are not, I don't think, regulated by the state. And so, yeah, I mean, I think you can probably use, our code doesn't have any requirements in it, I don't think, for the fire suppression for an indoor arena. I could double check just to make sure, but I don't think our code does. So basically, that's kind of thing is dictated by local regs. So, I don't know if Cortez has it in theirs or not, but we probably ought to defer to, I guess, the fire marshal.
So with the city fire marshal,
It's the state,
I mean,
it's the state is who is the one that we would defer to, and I don't know that for absolute, but, I mean, it would make.
Best place to start.
Yeah. But first of all, the first question he's going to ask is if we have fire flow. So until we hear back from the water company, I don't.
Okay. I should hear
Well,
back.
that wasn't on our agenda anyway, was it today?
Well, it was the fairground. It was just part of the fairground, and that was, he had asked.
Well, that's a separate bid that's not part of this.
Okay.
Sounds
Well,
like,
that was part of my report then. We'll use it as that.
Tim, I couldn't hear you perfectly, but I'm fairly certain the state does not have any requirements as far as building code fire suppression.
Okay, perfect.
thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Then we would just have to reach out to,
The fire marshal.
yeah, who is the fire marshal? Now, do you know?
There's only one in the city. There's only
There's,
city fire marshal.
I think all the cities have one.
We don't have one in the county.
Right.
I don't know who would ask.
I don't know.
I'm not sure who would ask.
Me neither.
Well, we'll figure that one out.
I can get with Jay and find out.
Okay, yeah, we can get with Jay or George.
Somebody will be
Yeah.
able to give us some information.
Anything else, Mike?
I have nothing. No, I'm good.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you, Mike.
So that brings us up to the
County attorney.
county attorney report. John, Mr. Baxter, which is the county attorney.
Yes, continuing meetings with, a lot of them you all are at. You heard from the DA and the sheriff already. I think, support the idea of maintaining our jail population at this 50% level or whatever it is, or decreasing it even more. I mean, unfortunately, it was COVID that led to this, but obviously, it's not a problem to not keep incarcerating people for having a drink when they are not supposed to be having a drink, and we mandatorily arrest them. And so now you have, I guess, more people noticing, like, wait, why are we churning people in and out of the system and costing taxpayer dollars when we're not really making any positive change? And so I'm glad that they are in the position they're in right now. And I'm really happy about our jail not having any COVID outbreaks yet. There have been COVID outbreaks in both federal detention centers in Colorado and in county detention centers. And so kudos to our detention staff for and for everybody involved with that, for keeping it out of our jail so far. When the trials start back up and when the court system start going more full swing, we're involved in several civil cases. Everything right now we're appearing for by video. Some of the juvenile stuff and criminal stuff takes precedence over ordinary civil cases, civil lawsuits. So I'm not sure exactly what it's going to look like in the fall when we have Walmart coming up, PAX coming up. Essentially, all of our civil cases are going to be coming to a head then, and there certainly is the real possibility that we're going to get bumped just because if somebody's sitting in custody at the jail, they get priority over us, or if it's a juvenile case, which we're involved with too, then those things have priority. So I think that's about it. You all, I don't know how many people were engaged in our meeting on Thursday. We had a BOCC meeting, and the BOCC passed the resolution about the tax break for veterans, or not. I can pull up that resolution for you all. I know it was public, and we did notice that meeting, but I don't know if Shaq has that, but it was the opposition to the Joint Budget Committee's recommendation to suspend senior citizens and disabled veterans real property tax homestead exemption. So we did that last week, not at our regular regularly scheduled meeting, but on Thursday. I think that's all I have, unless you guys have questions.
Commissioners? All right, thank you, John. We appreciate
Sorry,
it.
Commissioners, this is Kim.
Yeah, go ahead, Kim.
So we did have an issue with resolution numbers. I think I talked to Shaq and John about that last week. If John could help me with that.
Yeah, sorry, Pam, thanks for reminding me. So, Ms. Purcell noticed that we, I think, used one number twice. I don't remember which one number it was, say 6. So we had 2 resolution 6s or something to that effect, and asked what she should do. I asked her to just fix them sequentially and correct them by hand, and then that we would bring it up at this meeting, and the commissioners, just so it's in our minutes for somebody looking back 20 years from now trying to figure this out, if you all can make a motion to just interlineate by hand and fix the resolution numbers. And Kim, if you can remind me what numbers they are, and just to guide the commissioners in a potential motion, and then include it in our next, in our minutes for today, that we corrected the numbers of the resolutions.
I think we have it. Kim, go ahead, Commissioner.
Kim, I guess we had,
Gentlemen, I'm sorry, you guys are cutting up for me. It starts at number 7, and then we had 2 number 7s. And then I think we went to 9.
The rescind
so
should be.
the rescind that we posted last week was number 8, and the resolution to the JBC I have down as number 9.
Does that sound right, Kim?
Yes, it does.
So if you all could just make a motion to make those amendments to the numbering.
I don't know, I guess, what are the 2 that have 7, Kim? Because these 2 that we did Thursday are 8 and 9. Because
So gentlemen, what happened was the fire ban resolution was number 7, and then we did another number 7 for the, and I can't remember exactly what it was.
So do we need to just make this resolution 9 and 10?
Correct. And 8.
And the second number 7 would be 8, and then the number 8 would be 9, number 9 would be 10.
We only did 2 resolutions.
Correct. That's it, right here.
I'm glad there's not more than 5 resolutions, because we can't figure
Well,
out.
then I would state for clarification that resolution number 8, the 8/2020 rescinding the declaration of local health disaster emergency, be numbered as resolution number 9. And I would also move that resolution number 9 that we voted on last week to the JBC be moved to resolution number 10.
Second.
You're going to have to let me see that, try to remember that.
So resolution number 8 is going to be 9, resolution 9 is...
So there's been a motion to take the current resolution number 8 for Montezuma County for the rescinding of the local health disaster emergency, and change that resolution to number 9. And then the motion has been made by Commissioner Candelaria to take resolution number 9 and change it to number 10, which is the resolution for opposition to the Joint Budget Committee's recommendation to suspend the senior citizens and disabled veterans' real property. All those in favor of, in support of this motion?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks, Kim.
Thanks for catching.
All right, gentlemen, should have caught it sooner.
All right, thank you,
James has
John.
no
Any
report.
other questions for John? All right, have a great day, John.
Thanks.
Let's go to the Natural Resource Planning and Public Lands.
He has no
He has
report.
no report.
Oh, he has no report, okay. Then let's go to the County Administrator's report. Shaq, COVID-19 powers.
So the first thing that I have, let me get back to the right envelope here, is Mel Jarman, our landfill manager, received a quote for the liner systems to be placed into the landfill from Simbeck and Associates, and he needs the quote signed by the chairman for all the liner systems, not counting the dirt work that we're doing. The number received from Simbeck and Associates is $274,236.76.
Any discussion, commissioners, about this?
I think this just includes all of what Mel was talking to us last week or 2 weeks ago, so.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to finish this sale. We don't have a choice.
I think we send half of it to CDPHE. Split it with them, tell them to split it with you.
So, do we need a motion on this, John, or we just need to sign it, or the three are in agreement, or?
I think we'd already approved the sale.
Oh, we
right?
did, yeah,
It's just.
I can't see it.
all right.
And this is obviously something that can't be bid out, there's only one.
No, it's
Sole source.
It's a
One-shot deal.
it's a
So-
CDPHE requirement.
Go ahead, John.
Jim, does that look all right to you? You know, you're the one who suggested we use our own contracts for these things, which I don't have a problem with, but if you guys are fine with this, then you can execute it.
This is basically, most of this is material. It's not broken out for labor, but yeah, I don't think we have a choice. This is almost a sole source type of a deal here.
Right.
Okay.
Buyer signature.
And it's a local company as well, right?
That's
Simbeck,
correct. They're
yeah.
sole source in this area.
Okay,
It's the only one I know
if
that's
that's the case, then,
Environmental liners is gone.
yeah. We're on our agenda then, well, Shaq, you're still up.
Okay, and so then for the rest of my week, I've been trying to work with the health departments, with the tribe, and with CDPHE to make a second attempt or a third attempt at trying to get our variance request pushed through, and that's where the majority of my week has been spent, and I will be in conversations hopefully with the hospital this afternoon to request second signatures from them, and then I will await to hear from the tribe Thursday, as well as everybody else will be waiting for that. I did want to bring up that during Mr. Felker's presentation this morning, he said that, well, he didn't know at first who was taking pictures out at the fairgrounds, and he guessed a Laura, and then I think Commissioner Artel, you helped him by saying Laurel Schaefer, and I have received comment from Laurel that she was not in town this weekend, that she was out gathering firewood, and so Laurel is saying that absolutely was not her out there taking pictures, and so I would like to follow up with Mr. Felker, and I'd like to follow up with Laurel, because one, if somebody is saying that they work for us and they don't, that's going to irritate me very, very badly, and I think we need to see what actually did happen there. I've worked with Laurel, and I've known her for a lot of things, but I don't think she's ever had a problem with honesty, so I want to look into those claims.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you should do, Shaq. There's obviously some misinformation here, and if somebody, like you said, if somebody was out at that event taking pictures and stating that they were part of our health department or had snuck in there and were not registered by the person that everybody else had to sign in and be checked as they went into that event, we need to know who that person is. Yeah, we need to find out who that was.
And I would agree. I also emailed Bobby while we were having that conversation, and she also states that she'd asked all of her staff and nobody was out there. And so I think we just need to make sure we get that information clarified.
Okay, anything else, Shaq?
No, that concludes my report.
What time did you go to bed last night?
I got to bed around 3 o'clock this morning.
What time do you usually go to bed?
8:30.
We're gonna kill you.
Oh, man.
Was that a threat?
At 9 o'clock.
Threat or a problem?
Yeah.
Threat or a problem?
Oh, my gosh.
At 9 o'clock, I told him to go to bed.
Commissioners report.
Didn't listen very well, did he?
Commissioners?
Obviously, we had a lot of meetings last week that we were all on. I was on a meeting yesterday with CDPHE to discuss the, how we move forward with this. Again, another frustrating phone call for me. But with Shaq working until 1:30 in the morning, hopefully we can move this forward with the bullet points and see if we can be successful with another variance request. And to go back to the MBT meeting that we had on Thursday, I'm not sure if you guys were on it, but you know, economically, a number has been asked of how or what kind of a number do we think that the economics has been hurt or lost in this area by our businesses. And like I stated earlier, that just one bank has already loaned out over $6 million, and that's just one, not Region 9 or anybody else. So to me, that is a huge number in a small community. And I haven't checked with the other banks to see what they have done, but it is a definite impact to all of our local businesses as far as a disaster. That's a large number. So,
Well, I think we'll also see probably a significant number when we see if, and the city of Cortez should report this their first quarter sales tax. And I think if that can be looked at, you compare that with April of 2019, I'll bet that will be another serious indicator as to how much of the economy has shrunk.
Commissioner Tell, I want to say that the city has reported their first quarter sales tax, and it was up nearly 10 or 11%. A lot of that is because of the hoarding that happened early during COVID-19, and then I believe the second part of that is because of the new end-use sales tax on people ordering supplies online. But the first quarter is up. I don't know what the second quarter will reflect.
Well, Walmart's gonna have to be putting out an unbelievable number, huge number of sales tax, as well as the stores that have been allowed to be open, the grocery stores,
Hardware stores
and the feed stores,
and
yeah.
food stores, yeah. Well, then maybe that's obviously not gonna show, I know restaurant revenue will be certainly, but I don't know if they have that as a separate line item or not, whether what comes in from food service or not. But
Your marijuana sales are hanging in there, Commissioner.
I'll bet the liquor, and I'll bet the old liquor is too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't have anything else, sorry.
Then we'll go to public comment.
Did you have a report, Commissioner Sukla?
Well, I've been on the same meetings. I couldn't get on the meeting. Good job, I would say, Commissioner Candelaria. I tried to get on, and anyway, they gave us the wrong address, and then the second thing, then they had a new one, and it didn't work out. And we were in good hands with that anyway, so. Okay.
So I put at the very bottom that commissioners are giving their report. When they're finished, they'll begin taking public comment. I mean, there's a multitude of comments that I don't necessarily need to read through on here. So if anybody out in YouTube land has something they want to say directly to the commissioners or to ask them a direct question, now is your opportunity to do so. Also, the same for the one audience member still in the council chambers, commission chambers.
Danny Wilkin, 11728 Highway 491, and I just wanted to reply back to Commissioner Tales when he was talking about MVI and the water down in McKemmel. We did last week at our board meeting move to sign the lease with DWCD. It was been sent to them, and I'm not just sure exactly where the signatures are, but that's a part of it there. And then referring to what Commissioner Sukla was talking about Narragansett, we did at our meeting visit with Doc from Doc's Marina, And he's putting together a proposal, and we're looking at it of possibly getting some different things going on at Narragansett, and we'll discuss that more in June's meeting and stuff. So that's all I have.
So let me ask you, Danny, is the lease for Totten Lake, is that for water in McElmo? Is that what MVI is leasing that reservoir for?
It is,
Is
yeah.
to help the McElmo
Yeah.
water users?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
what I
but,
thought.
and then ultimately see how we can make everything work together and stuff with it. But yeah, that's what it's for. And there is a couple of McElmo water users that have already leased water from DWCD. Once we get our agreement signed with them, it'll roll over on into with us and stuff.
Gotcha.
But that's what it is for, because there has been for several years where DWCD had been leasing amount of water down to McElmo, because when they really need it is the start of the irrigation season before MVI system really comes on board.
What water were they leasing? They own some MVI shares, don't they? Doesn't,
There's that, and then the natural water that comes into it, and then they have some water rights and stuff, and that's the stuff that we're leasing. All of that will continue to move into it and stuff, so.
Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I would just add that we as the commissioners we feel for you, the businesses that haven't been able to open it yet, and I know we've got this 26 deadline coming up with the governor, and boy, if there is an extension, I'm not for sure where this community is which direction they're gonna take.
Well, I can tell you one last thing, that after talking to the MBT, the Montezuma Business Task Force, even just for restaurants, if they get the guidance from CDPHE, they're planning on even moving them into their parking lots or into not necessarily the street, but the sidewalks, and doing almost car hop service. I mean, they're trying to develop a plan to get these people going, even at a, lesser capacity than what they have in their occupancy. So there are people working on that to try and help all the other businesses that are not deemed essential.
I'd like to say one other thing too. I've noticed in some of the feed here, as well as on the Journal and other places, there's people throwing racial slanders and hurls one direction or the other, probably both directions. And I would like to say, this is not the time to allow Denver and the big city politicians to turn us against each other. This commission and the tribe were beginning to work fairly well together before COVID-19, and we want to continue to foster that relationship. And you people out there in YouTube land that are throwing these racial slurs around in either direction, knock that off. If you want to be mad at somebody, you get mad at the media and the big city politicians that are trying to divide us.
Anything else, commissioners, for the good of the order? Thank you, Administrator.
I see nothing else there, so
I'm good.
I have nothing else on my report.
Entertain a motion then?
I would move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. This
Give
meeting
me a
is
second to
over.
turn it
Shaq, how much sleep have you had?